Welcome back to episode 247 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Bill. I'm here with BabaLewi.
It's two guys from Minnesota and a Canadian with a very special relationship to cake. Welcome to the Gong Show.
That was disgusting.
Sorry.
Don't ever do that again.
You want me to
Three
lick my
demerits.
card?
Right there, Phil. All right, guys. How's it going? Hi, Phil.
Hey, what's going on, Josh? How you doing? Louis, what's up?
Good.
Hey.
It's a big day, Phil. You excited?
Yeah, I'm always excited. What's going on today?
I don't know.
Oh,
We'll have
me
to
neither.
see, right?
Yeah.
BabaLewi, you were out keeping the road safe in Minnesota all night, huh?
Yes, sir.
But it didn't snow, but they had you out there anyways?
Oh, it snowed. It was enough to make a mess and,
Okay.
Yeah. Take care of
So-
everybody.
You're no sleepy for BabaLewi?
No, I went in at midnight and I've been up since. So
Oh, man.
let's roll.
Let's see if your head's still upright by the end of the show. That'll be interesting. Just a couple things before we get started today. We don't do this enough, but I do want to take a second to thank everybody for supporting this little show of ours, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, and all the other content we do, like Phil's show and other stuff that, well, frankly, we're working on. Yesterday was our biggest day ever as a show. It was what's crazy about that was that there wasn't a new episode that was uploaded that day. So by biggest day ever, I mean most people listened and watched on YouTube, and it just blows my mind that our show continues to grow. It's very humbling. It's fun and exciting, and it's kind of wild to think that again, almost coming up 3 years in a few months. So there's Kobe. That we're still kind of growing. And I thought, Phil, that you had a nice comment when we talked on the phone today about what we've talked a little bit before. In one of the more rewarding aspects of doing this is when you hear from people that we made somebody's day easier or better, whether it be at work or just had, frustrations of life going on, and maybe a little escape into the hockey hobby is the medicine that you needed. That is kind of the coolest thing that, I guess we could hear, right?
Yeah, 100%. When you were sharing some numbers that I'll keep private because they're big, I was so flattered. And what's the very first thing I said to you was, we made said number that many people happy. Minus a few that are like, this guy's an idiot, but I think I still made your day, didn't I? Come on, I own it. It's fun. So yes, it's beyond flattering that the three of us can provide an escape for other folks, and you can hit pause and play at your leisure. So I think that is awesome. I'm so warm in the heart because of it. And the success is the messages and the feel good stories that come from our show.
Feel good and feedback. It's nice to have.
Yeah, constructive feedback. Constructive
Mhm.
feedback is key. 100%. All three of us can take it.
Yeah, we want to get better. So again, I just don't want to belabor the point, but just thank you, everybody. And we want to, gratitude is important. And I just want to acknowledge that we hear and appreciate the support greatly. So from a very nice topic to the bane of our existence, Rip Party package shipping woes, those continue. So Phil, who has most of our packages for our Canadian winners, most of the American winners went out because we have a postal service that is operational. There's a few US packages that are kind of stuck in Canada that Phil needs to send out as well. And you made the old country try today.
I
and
did.
went to UPS, and you want to file the astounding report of how that went?
It was horrible. I've never walked in there. I think I did go in there like 10 years ago for some mail delivery, but I've never had to use their services myself. So I walked in there. They were slammed, big lineup, and so here I am with a big tote full of like ridiculous amount of all these envelopes that looked ridiculous. And no one's happy. Everyone's just grumpy. People in the line, and I'm just trying to maintain positive attitude. Lady waves me over. She asked me how many packages I had. I said I had 38 today. and she gave me a stack of 38 pieces of paper to fill out. So I'm filling out the first one per 8x10, man, of every paper for, like, that's crazy. So I started filling out the first one. Then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't even ask how much this cost. So it was $28 to like $37 per package. Didn't matter. Just, I was like, I think I'm good. So, bye. It was right. Then I was on my way to Pure later, but then my doctor had to cancel. So I had to like rip to the doctor quickly and take care of something else. So, so I'll try tomorrow. I'll see what's up. But that's a lot of money, guys. That's a lot of money. And we're a non-for-profit. Are we a non-for-profit? I don't know.
I don't think
we have no profits. We're for profit, but so we really, really, really want to send these out, and I hope people understand that it's a national issue. I had read an article because I'm curious. I wanted the strike to end too, and looking for updates. And in the article that I read, Phil, it expressed that there's a lot of growing sentiment in Canada that of the frustration of how expensive the alternatives to Canada Post are.
Yeah.
And so, for, people that really have to send something, they're kind of taking it in the teeth right now.
Yeah, and if you are a horrible, evil capitalist, I would take full advantage of all this, right? $28.50, forget it. $38.50, or don't mail it. See ya. I get it, but it sucks when you're the guy that did Rip Party.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna beat us down for
that's
$28 on shipping. That's insane.
And if you I hope the federal government steps in soon. I just feel like they're a little preoccupied and with their priorities, and I feel the postal service should be a main priority. But
sure,
who knows? We'll see what happens.
We just want to keep everyone updated and let everyone know that we're aware and that we're working through it, and hopefully the strike just ends soon. But I would guess, and not just sending out our Rip Party winner packages, but for the whole rest of the hobby, let's say the strike ends today. After a month, the backlog is going to be, it's going to be months probably, right? Till things are back to normal.
It's Christmas is always horrible anyways. The postal service, FedEx, UPS, you guys do an amazing job around the holidays. My hat's off to you. That's the logistical framework of that would be insane.
Mm-hmm.
But already at Christmas holidays, things are already delayed 2 to 3 weeks. What's this going to do now, right? No one's going to get their Christmas presents in March.
Last reminder before we get started is just that our show, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, is a Patreon podcast, which that means we rely on the support of listeners and watchers like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more and what we hope is better hockey card content, and then fund initiatives even in a small way to grow the hockey hobby. You can support our show for as little as $5 US a month. Join our $2.99 support level tier via Patreon. You get access to our Discord server, which is a community of hobbyists that we interact with and chat with every day. And
it's been really hot lately too. Holy cow.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Very active. Woo.
Very, very active. It's a great community. And honestly, it's like where my hobby friends have come from. So I very much appreciate that group as well. We also do stuff in there like Secret Santa, which we're doing right now, our 5K challenge, fantasy hockey, a lot of other kind of fun events. To support us, it's easy. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patreon link at the top of the page, or go to Patreon directly, patreon.com, search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link for the good listener in the podcast apps on the show description and our YouTube description as well, and then finally in our Instagram and TikTok profiles. Okay, I think we're ready for the game plan, Louis. Oh, yeah, still Phil. Thanks, Phil.
What? Really come on. I wasn't even
We're going to shout you out.
Yeah.
To support the show, so we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now are you ready for the game plan, BabaLewi? Muted.
Oh, we found. Yeah, Louis on mute. Does he know?
Yeah, he's talking.
I'm on mute and I'm just talking. I'll just let it roll. How about that? I need
you look so excited and engaged.
You were into that, eh?
I need a button for mute now. Dang it. I'll take over for Troy. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, get to know your Hall of Famers. Then Rookie Deep Dive 24-25 edition. Then we're going to jump into some hobby news. Then Better Than Bedard. That'll be an interesting one. Then 24-25 Artifacts Instant Reactions. Then we'll get into my top 5 PC cards. After that, it's the Fanatics Weekly Hockey Preview, and then some personal pickups.
All right. Thanks, Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Like we always do, we're going to kick off today's show with our Get to Know Your Hall of Famers series. We're still working our way through the 1947 Hall of Fame class. I think we've done 5 of the 9 1947 inductees so far. Today, we're going to look at the life, playing career, and hobby market for Frank Nighbor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll do a quick bio, tell you why you should care about him, and then finally take a look at Frank's hobby market. All right, here we go. Julius Francis Joseph Nighbor was a Canadian professional hockey player who lived from 1893 until 1966. He had a playing career that lasted 18 seasons for the Toronto Blue Shirts. That's a real name. I know, Phil, you like to call the Maple Leafs the Blue Shirts, but I never knew that was a real team until learning about Frank Nighbor. Then the Vancouver Millionaires, that greatest team name ever, Ottawa Senators, and Toronto Maple Leafs. This has to have you all sorts of confused because it's he played for your love and your nemesis, and then your love and your nemesis all again. Prior to his professional career, Nighbor began playing hockey for the Pembroke Debaters in the Upper Ottawa Valley Hockey League. The Pembroke Debaters. That's nerds? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if you're going to say something, Phil, but you're on mute for a second. You have something going on in the background or what?
No, I was hearing a ringing. I was just making sure if it was me or not. I didn't that pick. It's probably good I was on mute because I used an expletive. Like what is that in the middle? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, the coach.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So good listener. Yeah, Josh or Louis threw up a picture here and like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings there. Yeah. You know, I'm sure it's just a heavy contrast. I feel I'm being a jerk for nothing. Well,
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, he started his professional career in 1912 with the Blue Shirts, scoring 25 goals in 18 games. That's not a bad rookie season as a professional player. Now, Nighbor, though, would only be a Blue Shirt for one season, then jumping to the Make Money Vancouver Millionaires in 1912. While in Vancouver, he was a key cog in the team that beat Phil's Ottawa Senators for the Stanley Cup in 1915.
Oh, God.
I guess he felt bad about whipping your Senators' butts, Phil, because Frank would then head back east to play for the Senators the following season and would play in Ottawa until 1930. As a Senator, he'd win 4 more Stanley Cups in 1920, 21, 23, and 27. And his best season with the Senators was in 1916-17, where he had 41 goals in 19 games played.
Jeez.
Now, why should you care about Frank Nighbor? Nighbor was one of the first players to emphasize both offensive and defensive responsibilities as a forward. His ability to backcheck effectively and anticipate opposing plays set a new standard for forward play, influencing the modern role of the two-way center. He popularized the hook check, a defensive maneuver using the stick to strip the puck from opponents. This innovation became a hallmark of his playing style and remains an integral defensive technique in hockey today. So I'm guessing that means the poke check today.
Is that what that is? I didn't. The hook body check? What was it?
Hook check.
Hook check.
A defensive maneuver using the stick to strip the puck from opponents.
Huh.
I think the term hook check would be more of a penalty today than.
Yeah.
I assume that they are again referring to poke check. All right, now it gets pretty interesting. Frank Nighbor was the inaugural recipient of the Hart Trophy in the 1923-24 season. So your first ever Hart Trophy winner. I love this one. Late in the 1925 season, Lady Byng, the wife of Governor General of Canada, Lord Julian Byng, an avid Senators fan, invited Nighbor to Rideau Hall after a game. She showed Nighbor an ornate trophy and asked him if he thought it would be a good idea. And to his surprise, Lady Byng presented him the trophy on the spot, making him the first winner of the Lady Byng Trophy.
Wow. No relation to Chandler, just to let our listeners
know. No relation. His calm demeanor, innovation, and versatility made him one of the first hockey stars admired for both his skills and character. Nighbor set a precedent for the importance of sportsmanship and all-around excellence in hockey. Now, I didn't write this down, but I saw, Phil, that he has a street named after him in your hometown of Canada.
Yep, less than 2 minutes drive from me.
Okay. So were you aware of him? Is it just
Oh,
another
yeah,
street
yeah,
behind you?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I mentioned it before, but in 92, 93, and for the next few years, the Scotiabank place, or CT Center, we call it now, was called Palladium, Palladium Coliseum. So that gave a big opportunity to showcase a lot of these players that, especially at the beginning when you were going, like Frank Finnegan and Nighbor here as well. So they have a very storied, well presented past in this city. I mean, they took their foot off the gas pedal after 2000, I guess. So maybe a lot of the younger generation, well, they don't even know who's on the team now, so it doesn't matter. But there's a good core of Ottawa folks here who know who Frank Nighbor would be for sure.
Are there collectors like that you see at the card shows because going back to the early 1900s, which has been the focus of ours as we started the series, starting at the very first Hall of Fame classes where most of the players come from, that era, the Ottawa Senators were kind of, it seemed like one of the, if not the biggest, one of the biggest teams. And so a lot of these guys have Senators lineage. So I'm kind of curious, when you go to card shows, do you see like pre-war or vintage collectors that focus on dudes that played for the Senators?
That's a very good question, Josh. And I'm embarrassed to say it's never been a focus of mine. So if it happened, it happened right underneath my nose and I didn't notice. But as we know, the C10s captured my heart a little bit there earlier this year. So ask me this question in a year and I'll get back to you.
You mean the C56s, the 1910s?
C56s, I'm so sorry, yeah. C10s. I don't know what I was thinking there.
You just combined, I think, 1910 and C56.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Okay, let's look at the Frank Nighbor hobby market. His rookie card is a 1923 V145-1 Patterson. If you're watching on YouTube, the copy pictured is a PSA 6.5. That's the highest public sale for $4,185 US in September of 2019. He also has a card in the 1924 C144 Champs hockey set. The PSA 7 we're showing on YouTube is its highest sale, selling for $1,890 US in July 2021. And then there's a 1945 V145-2 Patterson Frank Nighbor. That's very rare. I couldn't find a public sale for it, but I got it from TCDB. And this next one is wild. So the only other Playing Days card I could find, it looks like a horror movie.
What are you doing, man? Warn me.
1926-27 anonymous Frank Nighbor. Doesn't that look like a poster of a horror movie or something like that? That is creepy.
Like Shocker? Did you ever watch? Well, Josh, you didn't watch Shocker. Did you even watch any ending of any Disney movie ever? Anyways, because they can get pretty scary.
I've seen one scary movie, and it was so bad I never could. I saw Silence of the Lambs.
That's not a scary movie. That's a psychological
the hell out of me.
thriller. Oh, Jesus. Okay, back to Frank here.
But does it look like his mouth is sewn shut on this?
Yeah, it looks a little Hellraiser.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Yep.
Clive Barker. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want that card. I think it would terrify me.
I'm going to buy you that card.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
And I'm going to make you watch Hellraiser.
No. So, Phil, as our Ottawa resident here on the show, anything you want to add about Frank Nighbor or no?
Funny story. I always thought it was pronounced neighbor. So a good 20 years of my life, I said the street name wrong. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I forget to remember things frequently. So
I don't know. I just pronounced it like I've never heard it. So is it?
No, I've always said it that way.
No.
Frank Nighbor, yeah. Nighbor.
There's no E.
Okay. Well, we'll find out. Believe me.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. What kind of does Phil even live in Ottawa?
It would be more. Let's be honest. It would be more embarrassing for you not to know.
Oh, I wouldn't. That wouldn't embarrass me at all. You know how much is going in and out? Come on, man. I know what I am. Look inward. I did. I'm good. Frank's awesome. He's the right people know who he is. Proud that he was a senator.
There you go. Well, let's get to know our Hall of Famers, Frank Nighbor, neighbor, whatever it is, and we'll be back next show with another 1947 inductee. We're going to go from guys that played a long time ago to guys that are just starting their career today. And for the first time in many months, we're bringing back Rookie Deep Dive for the 2024-25 rookie class.
Well, good
Sorry.
listener, if you're listening, Josh has gotten a new fetish, and that's AI taking my face and putting me in a lot of positions that I did not
Yeah.
condone to be in. So today I'm a scuba driver or scuba diver.
If you're just listening, I think you're in a better place today because there's a lot of Phil pictures in this. Oh
There is?
boy, yeah.
Why? I'm not okay. Well, I am handsome. I mean, I agree to that. I think I am pretty handsome. So.
And then you
I-
added one. It's like, holy crap.
Oh, that one. That's my
Yeah.
personal pickup, man. That's a big
Mhm.
card. All right, Josh,
Mhm.
let's get going here.
Okay. Like I said, it's been a while, but Hobby Ricky Deep Dives back. It's where we take an in-depth look at a player that you pick, their background, call it Road to the NHL, and their early NHL performance, and then their hobby markets. But we don't pick the rookies. You do. So I came up with 4 options this week. Then via Instagram, we conducted one of our world famous hobby polls.
There it is.
So she's a beauty. I love her.
There's our hobby poll.
Yeah.
So you guys can pick which of the 4 candidates you most wanted to learn about. So Phil, you following along so far?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
The
good.
program? Okay. All right. Here are the 4 players we presented in the poll this week. Logan Stankoven, Lane Hutson, Jesper Wallstedt, and Cutter Gauthier. All 2024-25 Series 1 Young Guns.
Mm-hmm.
The votes are in. Phil, you got a prediction?
I thought Cooter Gauthier was going to win, but no.
No. Okay. You know the answer, right? And so, yeah, you got the results, Lee. We'll
Boom.
reveal those now. In very non-shocking fashion, Lane Hutson comes away with 33% of the vote, followed by a decently close second, Logan Stankoven at 29%. Then Cutter Gauthier in at third, and Jesper Wallstedt, our Minnesota Wild phenom, some might say goalie, at 17%.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get grabbed, though. Nobody's really seen him play this year. And
True.
so,
It's got a cool name. Jesper.
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 Put your pads on and get in the net.
Right. Lane Hutson is a 20-year-old American hockey player for Phil's Montreal Canadiens. He's originally from Holland, Michigan. Comes in a bit on the, we'll call it the teeny tiny side at 5'8" and about 160 pounds. Hudson was not a super high draft choice like many of the big rookie chases end up being. He was drafted in the second round, 62nd overall, by the Canadiens in the 2022 NHL entry draft. Lane is a product of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program, which he first joined for the 2020-21 season. Out of the gate, he had to address with scouts and overcome really his diminutive frame, as many of the scouts doubted his game would translate to the NHL level. He played 2 seasons with the USNTDP.
TDP.
TDP. And in 2021, produced in 22, produced an impressive 10 goals, 63 points in 60 games played. Now, despite these concerns about his size and physicality, there's a lot of positives to Hudson's scouting report heading into the 2022 draft. So they cited his elite hockey IQ, of course.
Oh,
You have
there
to
it
have
is.
that. Praised for his ability to read the game, make smart plays under pressure, and he can anticipate the flow of the game both offensively and defensively. He has very high offensive skills, a natural playmaker, consistently sets up scoring chances for teammates. His vision and creativity make him dangerous in transition on the power play, and he possesses a quick and deceptive shot, though his primary strength was passing. Skating, edge work, agility, quickness allowed him to escape pressure, create space for himself, and the shimmy head shake,
Yeah.
right? You gotta talk about that. Ability to move her in tight spaces and carry the puck through the neutral zone is exceptional. His excellent puck skills, can control the puck under pressure, and they said especially for his age. And then, but aside from his size, or maybe contributing to his size, the knock on him was on the defensive side of the game. His ability to defend effective against larger players was a point of concern, and sometimes relied too much on his stick rather than physicality in defensive situations. So I thought this is interesting. Is it a lay or lie concerns with respect to his size? When Hudson went to the NHL scouting combine, he was armed with a report from an endocrinologist that showed that his bone age, what's your bone age, Phil? Is delayed relative to his biological age, which meant his frame had still more than a full year of additional bone growth to go. He was trying to scientifically prove that he was going to still grow and not be so diminutive forever.
Mommy, give it to him before he
Yeah.
left.
My doctor signed this.
Make sure you show them the paper.
It was an issue. Like I saw this quote from one of the Sportsnet draft experts who said that in their coverage that if he was like even 5'10", that they thought he'd be a top 15 pick in the draft.
Yeah, I
Like
can see that. It's crazy
yeah.
skilled, man. Crazy skilled.
Ultimately, though, again, he was selected in the second round, 62nd overall by the Montreal Canadiens. And I mean, look, he looks like
He's so
like,
Is
cute.
that his mom? Is that his parents?
she's too old to be his mom. It's probably his
Yeah, I
grandma.
think
Look how
so.
young
Yeah.
he
No,
is.
she looks like she works there. She's got the lanyard on. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does look very. Have you ever seen an NHL draft pick that look younger than that?
No, man. I just realized today most police officers are younger than me now. It's like, oh, that's horrible.
It's a weird realization, but we'll save that.
We have a lot of
for-
construction, and
Okay.
yeah.
Prior to the draft, though, Hutson had committed to play collegiately the next season at Boston University, where in his freshman season he scored 9 goals, added a Hockey East League high 25 assists, becoming the first defenseman ever to lead the league in scoring. After a stellar freshman year, he was named to the All Hockey East first team, All Hockey East rookie team, as well as named the Hockey East Rookie of the Year and Hockey East scoring champion and runner-up for the Hockey East Player of the Year. His sophomore year was equally as impressive at Boston University, scoring 15 goals, accumulating 49 points in 38 games played. And then last spring, after BU's defeat by Denver in the 2024 Frozen Four, Hutson signed his 3-year entry contract with the Canadiens on April 15th. Or with the Canadiens, and then made his debut, I think, a day or so later for in the NHL, registering an assist in his first game. So he played 2 games at the end of last season, got an assist in both games. He made the Canadiens opening day roster this year, and so far he's played 28 games. Is still looking, Phil, for his first ever NHL goal.
Oh,
But-
he hasn't scored this year?
No.
What? That's great, man. I've seen him play twice. That's incredible. Yeah, he hasn't scored.
He does have 19 assists though, so 19 points in 28 games, pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah.
Minus 12. Is that good?
Ooh. I have a question, man. Why, like, coming from an Erik Karlsson point of view, why do these super high skilled little defensemen, why didn't they not along their hockey career get put on a wing? Right? I don't understand if they're like Lane Hutson.
Yeah.
What about him? I'll even use Erik Karlsson, one of my all-time favorite players. He can't do wrong. He was okay at defense. He was better with his stick, but he wasn't a big guy. He just had to be smart. He also had high IQ, hockey IQ, but so does Shane Pinto and Chris Kelly. And a lot of people that aren't very good in the NHL can have excellent hockey IQ. It just, I get why they have to say it. But anyways, back to the little skilled defensemen. Why do those exist?
Watch their feet when they skate. They are impeccable. Defensemen are some of the most amazing backwards skating, moving athletes you will see. Watch a forward have to go back on D. If you got a D pinching or something and the puck comes out and you got, your forward comes back to help out. Watch them try to skate backwards once. You'll know exactly why the D are where they're supposed to be.
Good answer.
Well,
a quick pivot, maybe back. Yeah.
So getting back again to his minus 12, that's the second lowest on the team. Like Kirby Dach is like minus 30 already. So like just crazy. His minus 12 is the lowest plus minus for a Canadiens defenseman. But I guess maybe to fill your point, what if it turns out 2 years from now he's just bad at defense? Why wouldn't you move him to wing? If all his skills are on the offensive side, maybe you can hide him defensively a little bit better. I don't know.
Like it would be, if he doesn't work out as a defenseman, wouldn't you rather in 5 years he's your third line left wing? Well, he shoots. I don't know what he shoots, but whatever wing. Pick a wing lane.
Well, it also depends on what you're calling super offensive too. Yeah, he's got 19 assists, but that's just moving the puck around on the point. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the
haven't
power play
I haven't
goals.
seen him play enough to even say anything, but
He is averaging 23 minutes time on ice, which is very impressive for a
That's good.
20-year-old
Lot.
rookie. So that means that they do have a lot of faith in him. And I think from what I read too, he might be on the second power play unit right now. So he's got 19 assists and not even playing on the first power play unit. And you would think that given his offensive abilities, that they're sort of gearing him up to be that quarterback of the future for their power play one,
Mm-hmm.
I would think. So I don't know if are you a Lane Hutson stan?
Yeah,
You
I like him. I thought he would. I got a little excited there at the beginning of the year. I was like, who is this kid? He's. I still think he's the real deal, but so is Bedard, and he's not having the best year. So time will tell, man. These are kids. They're little kids. Let his bone density increase. Let's see what happens.
yeah.
you brought up
I-
Carlson. Is he, when you saw him play, Phil, is he a offensive defenseman or what's his
yeah,
style? Yeah.
he was the definition of an offensive defenseman. But you're right. You're right on the skating. He was one of our best skaters, and he got back as much as he could. He got back. Yeah.
Mhm. And again, everything you read about like maybe his defensive shortcomings is he prefers to use his stick versus his body. And in the NHL, that won't fly.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to have to learn to get more physical, but he'll probably, I don't think he'll be 160 pounds for forever. And it looks like he has now he's listed at 5'9. So maybe he has grown an inch, but
Well, on the NHL is year after year. Like, do you guys see some of the suspensions in junior hockey? Like, what's going on? So it's, I think the NHL is continuing to go the less clutch grab way, right? So in 10 years, maybe you can only use your stick to defend. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Hope not.
Yeah, me too, Louis.
all right, let's take a quick look at Lane Hutson's hobby market. He is a 2024-25 Series 1 Young Guns, PSA 10, top 38 with an early 32% gem rate. Last sold for $414 US on December 5th. And it's the only sale so far of his Young Guns. Now, gosh, since this came out, if you think about the difference between how quick the turnover was for Connor Bedard Young Guns PSA 10s, getting them into the market. There's been one sale of the biggest chase for Series 1 of this year after it's been more than a month since it came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Top 3 highest selling Hutson cards to date. Number 3 is a Young Guns Clear Cut PSA 10, sold for $1,000 US on November 30th. The number 2 highest sale is a High Gloss Raw, sold for almost $3,000, $2,998.
I would have thought more than that. That's crazy. I would have thought
Really?
over 5,000. High gloss.
Really?
Yeah, man, all the way.
Yeah. And then we talked about it before, but the number 1 sale was his Gold Ulpers 101 that sold for raw for $13,515 US dollars on October 31st.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have. I don't know. I Quebecers are crazy. I would have thought more for that too. Yeah.
All right, so there we are. That's our rookie deep dive for the teeny tiny head bobbing, head shaking offensive dynamo. That's Lane Hutson. Pretty good start to his career. So it'll be fun to follow that as it progresses. All right, going to make a mention for Gongshow partner sponsor Slab Sharks. Want to thank them for supporting our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. It's a massive auction. It has to be the biggest to date, almost 5,000 cards. Not just quantity, but quality as well. It's one you won't want to miss. So head to slabsharks.com. Check out all the cards for yourself. Get those bids in. These auctions, they just keep getting bigger and bigger because so many Canadian card collectors are realizing that Slab Sharks is the way to go and sell your cards on eBay. I assume, Phil, that if you sold cards, you don't. You just buy. You're a one-way street.
I've sold some cards before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you consider Slab Sharks if you had like maybe Pintos to dump or something like that?
No, the Slab Sharks is not getting my Pintos, but I 100% would use Slab Sharks for everything else because it stresses me out. eBay. Slab Sharks exists for guys like me. I do not do the eBay listings. No way.
It was the easiest thing I ever did. I had a card. I said, "Here you go, Sylvan. Take this."
Yeah, I know. It's easy.
Okay,
when
no problem.
One of your best friends works for, that's super easy. Here, take this. See ya.
All you got to do is, well, they make it super easy. They do all the work. All you got to do is submit your cards via their online portal or drop them off at one of the many shows that they have reps at, and then they do the rest. They'll take professional photos, list all your cards, answer any buyer questions, hunt down payments from winners, ship to Canada or the US, and most importantly, handle any post-sale issues. Plus, your cards get listed in one of the biggest weekly hockey auctions there is. So for complete consignment info, including payout rates, and to get the process started, head to slabsharks.com. All right, hobby news.
Hobby news.
Swen Yibo.
Oh,
All right, well, not a lot going on in hobby news, but I did pull up some kind of grading fun facts, Louis, if you want to go.
Oh my
These are for
God.
These
I'm
are
an
random.
honorary American.
Yeah, these are random grading fun facts for Phil. We're going to get to it in a minute, but Phil, we do have a special surprise for you today that we're going to get to right now. It is, you're a Seinfeld guy, right?
Yeah.
You know Festivus?
Yes. Are
It-
we
it is
fighting?
the
Piece
Festiv-
of
it
strength?
is the Festivus season. A
Okay.
big part of Festivus is airing of grievances.
Yes.
And so we're going to welcome Brad
Oh my
PSA
God.
on today
Brad.
as your Festivus present.
Hey, bro.
Josh,
We're
BabaLewi,
gonna-
Hey, how are you, Brad?
A little red in the face. What's going on?
No, Phil, you had no idea this was happening, right?
Clearly not.
And we've been planning this, Brad, for what, 2 months now? Well, welcome, Brad. First of all.
Oh my goodness. Woo.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, couldn't be happier to be here.
Okay, well, great. And Phil's been a little bit of a critic for the past few months. He was a major PSA fan, and I'm going to let him explain, maybe to kick off this wonderful airing of grievances. Well, we're going to work it out today, Phil. You're gonna what have you said on the show? I have so many questions I want to ask PSA.
Yeah, I'm a preparer though. It kind of threw me into the flow.
No. You're gonna get to ask every question you've always wanted to ask Brad. But why don't you start telling Brad like where the train got off the track for you and PSA?
Okay. Hey Brad, how's it going?
Wonderful, Phil. And just so you know, Josh, I will throw Josh a little under the bus. He was the leader on this, and I was happily a participant. So I prepared on the spot, but I think this is great.
There is no doubt in my mind who led the charge on this adventure. Okay. So yes, I was the biggest PSA fanboy on the planet forever. I have not sold any cards because of my disgruntled crybaby, sucky baby ways, but I will explain my sucky baby ways. I bought a digital scanner. I scanned a Patrick Waugh rookie card that I own a few of them, and I already scanned one that was a PSA 8. That card, I'm gonna summarize a lot going on right now. I scanned 2 Patrick Waugh rookie cards. The one that was previously graded by PSA, yes, it was quite a bit older without the hologram on it. I've been around for a bit. Was actually a little bit less by the pixel than the Patrick Waugh I sent in. So I'm sending in a 33 card submission. This Patrick Waugh is one of them. I was so confident that it would not get a altered grading. If it got a 9, that's fine. I thought it should get a 10 like everybody else. I didn't even get to that point. So that's issue number 1 I personally had. And I don't expect you, Brad, to say some magic sentence that's gonna I know I'm butthurt. I know that. So
wait, can we stop there? Because I want to kind of take these one by one and have Brad chime in. So you sent to Patrick Waugh, you had measured it through your digital scanner somehow.
Correct.
Like it's like a digital measuring stick.
Yes.
And then it came back as altered. Now, Brad, does that mean that it's not the right size, or could that mean different things?
Yeah. So when Phil did his video, a friend of mine sent it over to me. And I did not know Phil at this time, and I've only recently met all you guys and Phil. And I remember going, "Wow, this!" And I'm going to use the term amused.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
You wear your heart on your sleeve. You showed your emotions, and I was like, "Yeah, he's definitely a little bit peeved off. That's for sure." And I thought, honestly, I was very amused, not at your expense, but the video that you did was
okay.
And trust me, I've got phone calls where, over the years where I've been called every name in the book, and they hate, like, there's a lot of things. So your rant, I guess is the proper word, was amusing, and it was very heartfelt. So I did take it. I took it seriously, and I remember I said, maybe I'll reach out to him. I said, well, maybe he'll reach out to me at some point. I said, I'm probably just better just to let the dust settle a little bit, just to see what happens. So the one thing is, and again, I don't want to say that I'm an expert in any of these things. I'm still learning, and every day I learn something new in the grading space. But the one thing that you were wrong on, and so many people are, and I just wanted to make sure you were aware, your Patrick Wall was min size. So it came back minimum size requirement. That means that, like, the card doesn't measure up to the size requirement that we require to grade a card. So there's no charge for that service. We assess the card, but we don't charge for that service. I wish there was another way we could do something with min size, but that's neither here nor there for this point. So what that does tell you, though, is your card was not altered. It was not trimmed. It was not recolored. It just was produced from the factory that way. So when it comes back to you, it's not altered. It's not trimmed. Otherwise, we would have slapped it with altered, recolored, trimmed right on the label. It would say that, and we would charge you for that service.
Okay.
So that's one thing. So your card's good. Your card's
my card's great. My card should be a PSA 10. And I'm gonna try. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so that's the one thing. And again, not to come, but it's sometimes we don't explain all the meanings to all our different terms that we use, and it can create some of this controversy, I guess I could use those terms, but it does happen. So I spend a lot of my time explaining throughout the course of a week the different meanings, and 9s and 4s and 6s and 2s, all these different things, so I can help educate that. So your card is a good card. It's not trimmed, not recolored, not anything. And it's a great card. It's an awesome card that maybe should be a PSA 10, but it did not meet our minimum size requirements for us to slab that.
Thank you for demystifying that for me. I appreciate that, Brad. Based on this, if I resend, I'm going to be blunt. If I resend this card, there's a very good chance that won't happen again. So let's assume I would get a grade. Let's say I get a PSA 8. Let's say my card gets a 10. I think it should get a 10, but let's say it gets an 8, and I'm happy with the 8. That inconsistency, as someone who works for PSA, does that not upset you? I'm a business owner too, on a much smaller scale, and consistency matters to my customers. Does that not matter to you and your colleagues at PSA?
No, absolutely it does. 100% it matters to us. Our grading team, and this is before, I'm a 30-year collector. Had my first store when I was 15 years old, been in this for my entire life. It's part of who I am. I was a PSA fanboy prior to me taking over PSA Canada. I also had numerous rants on grading returns, just like yours. Maybe not posted on YouTube, but What do you mean? No, how is this possible? There's no way that this card is min size. There's no card that this is not a 7. I remember I got back a Seth Jones PSA 2. I think it was Seth Jones PSA 2 one time, and it had a crease right down the middle of the back. I'm like, how did I miss that? How did I possibly? And I was like, there's no way I possibly missed it. Anyways, again, there is things that happen, but for me, I truly believe that our grading team is the best in the world. These guys are so passionate. When you see from the leadership all the way down and what goes into becoming a grader, is it subjective? Yes, it's still subjective. It is. We have grading standards, and can we make mistakes? Absolutely. I make mistakes every day. Phil, I'm sure you make mistakes every day, but it's how you handle your mistakes is the biggest thing. So when we at PSA, when we make a mistake and that mistake is recognized, we fix the problem. That's one of the best things about PSA compared to a lot of other grading companies. We stand behind our product and our grades. The grade guarantee is such a crucial part of our business. It's so important to high-end collectors, to all collectors out there, but it's so, so important. And yes, you've seen our CEO, our leader, Nat, many times talk about he's constantly signing checks, buying back cards that mistakes were made. And that's going to happen. We're great. Last month, 1.465 million cards, astronomical numbers, and do I wish we could get it right? 100% of the time? Absolutely. And everyone on our team does. The last thing we ever want to do is have a mistake. Mistakes can happen.
But you stand by the full effort by it.
Oh, absolutely, Phil. And
that means a lot. That means a lot.
No, absolutely. And it's not just me saying that. I could take my PSA. These guys are the best in the business. Nobody has seen more cards than our leadership, our graders. Nobody. Like every big card that has gone through the room. Our head grader has been at PSE for 25 to 30 years. When I first met him 4 years ago, I was very intimidated. I had a million questions I wanted to ask, and I was kind of nervous. Since then, we became friends, and I see what he does every day. He's the first guy in. He's the last guy to leave. He's looking at everything. There's so many moving parts in this. I hope that one day, and I think we will under our leadership with Ryan Hogue, our president now, pull back the curtain a little bit more. And there's a lot of reasons why we don't. But when you see what goes into the grading of cards, it's not just what a lot of people think. It's a huge effort.
So I'd like to pause right here and stay here.
Yeah.
You just said it, Brad. Okay, so coming from a capitalist kind of mindset, why would you ever peel back the curtain when business has never been better, right? Now, I want the curtain peeled back. If you're so proud of your head grader, I'm just going to pick this as an example. If you're so proud of your head grader, why is he not showcased on the PSA constantly? Why do we not know? Like, I have no idea how many, the hobby has no idea who these amazing graders are. Does your head grader personally fly to all your new corporate areas and personally train the managers and supervisors? Who are the managers and supervisors?
Everyone.
Do people work part-time? Do people are there part-time people grading my Patrick Waugh, or are there part-time people grading base cards, right? Is that tier different? The mystery is astounding, and it would be really, really cool if you guys ripped the curtain off. You'd be a first mover advantage. You would lock it down. There'd be antitrust issues if you did that.
Yeah. Again, I won't speak onto that part of it, but I walked around the Toronto Expo with our top 2 graders.
Yeah.
Introduced them to a bunch of people.
Awesome.
Didn't know if that was part of what I was supposed to do. Didn't know. Again, I'm learning as I go. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Do I even mention who the head graders are or who the top graders are? Like, do I say that? I don't know what you're allowed to do. As I have, I've been with PSA Canada for 4 years, which I owned the business. PSA employee, I started in September 2023. So it's just been over a year as an employee of Collectors. So I'm learning how to navigate, how to do different things, what I can do, what I can't do. But nobody has ever told me that I couldn't do something that I've done, or I've never got my hand slapped. So I'm going to continue to do that and be truthful, because that's who I am. And I think it's very important that I know, if you believe me, I want to make sure that you can have trust and believe in me, because I believe in our team. And again, one thing I want to say, mistakes can and will happen, but it's all about how you rectify those mistakes. And as a company, we do that very, very well.
Good.
Can I jump in with a quick question? So you've acknowledged now a couple of times that, again, that the way PSA grades is human by humans and grading experts, and that inherently is subjective, because we as human beings we can't look at things purely objectively. It's impossible. A lot of the grading startups over the last, since the pandemic, have touted to some degree, most of them, like whether it be like machine assisted or AI, and none of them are really AI, because that was a little bit of false marketing. But just the idea of not having people grade cards and turn it over to the robots, where in the consumer's mind, everything's perfect, everything's consistent. And I'm just kind of curious, why does PSA feel that the human method is better, or are you planning to go to that? Or it's just been I've never heard anything from PSA in regards to kind of your methodology by assessments by human beings versus going more of a robotic way.
Absolutely. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not my place to say some of these things. I'll always say exactly how I feel. But if you've listened to Nat Turner in the countless interviews that the guy does, every day he's doing an interview somewhere else. the technology, he believes that there is going to be technology assisted grading, and we are using that now.
Okay.
But humans will always be part of the grading process. So I'm not a tech guy.
Sure.
I have no idea, but all I know is that when he says that, I'm all in. Absolutely. If he thinks that humans need to be part of the process and they always will be part of the process, completely agree with him. He's a tech guy. If there was a way, from a business standpoint, if there's a way that we could grade cards just all using tech, it'd be a hell of a lot more profitable as a company to get rid of the hundreds of employees that we have and make things. But he believes that, and obviously it's factual based, then I'm going all with that.
Do you keep tabs on your competition like Tag, which is objective grading, or do you just kind of let them do their thing and you focus on what you guys are doing?
Yeah, honestly, I focus on what we're doing, and I focus on that. I really don't. Again, do I watch gem rate numbers? Do I own cards in many different grade holders? Yep. I've been slowly crossing them over. Some cards I don't cross over. I've got cards in KSA holders, Beckett holders, STC holders.
I'm a KSA fan, but yeah, man, I got a small yet very mighty KSA collection with my Nickelback CDs.
Right. And when KSA started, Rick was the original owner of KSA, and he would set up next to us at the Toronto Expo back 25 years ago.
No kidding.
And him and his son would go, I always thought this was funny. His son would go around, buy cards, he'd come over, ask my opinion. What do you think on this one? Next thing you know, it'd come back in a KSA holder.
It's in its job. But start charging a loony, a dollar every for your opinion and be rich.
Yeah. I forget Rick's, actually the first card I ever had graded on site by KSA was in 98, and it was a Marian Hossa.
Yes.
Platinum, or what do they call the silver platinum rookie card? 97, 98. Was it preferred?
Donruss? Elite prospects, maybe?
Yeah, it's a silver card. I get the picture of it. I think I got the set here somewhere now.
Oh, well, he's in a Sens uni, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's great.
So, but I try to focus on what we can do, and every day, we're such a big company now, and we're growing internationally, and we've got big international plans that are going to be announced in January 2025. There's more and more things happening. We've got a ton of official announcements, and we're constantly investing in tech and product development, and with the international expansion, with hiring more people, with keeping the people that we have happy, and our HR team. I love being part of this, and I'm 48 years old. I've never worked for anybody besides my dad my whole life at 47. And I said, am I going to go work for a corporation now, being my boss forever? Like, this is going to be difficult. What am I doing? And when myself and wife Sherry, we were sitting beside each other, and it came through, and it took me about 30 seconds. Before I even opened up the proposal, I just was like, you know what? I'm all in.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. So,
well, and kind of where this idea came from, and Phil, we're going to get back to your, Festivus airing of grievances here.
Yes.
Was that when you and I were talking, you told me that when you first got the job, you got the opportunity to go to PSA and grill them like Phil's kind of grilling you today, and get all your questions answered, and that I won't put words in your mouth, but you obviously left that satisfied.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you learn, and there's so many things that you don't see when cards are in a holder. This is my latest biggest grievance is all this: buy the card, not the grade, buy the grade, not the card. Like, there's just back and forth, and it's everybody that's blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, buy what you like and buy what you can afford, and go from there. And there's a lot of flaws, especially in vintage, that people don't realize. And it's my number one pet peeve is edges are very important of the technical grade on a card. When you put a card, especially a vintage card, so when you're looking at cards from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, what most of the problems are on the edges of cards that look really nice and have a low grade. Because what did we do? We wrapped them with elastic bands.
Yeah.
So you can have cards that have an eye appeal in a holder that look like a PSA 10. And you're like, this is the nicest card. Why is this PSA 4? Because it's got a slight little elastic mark on the edge, which will cause it to be a 4. It could have a little bit of the warp in the card from the elastic bands that's on it. But when you slab it and you put it in that holder, you don't see it. So when you see these really, really beautiful, gorgeous cards, in PSA 4. It's just because that's the technical grade, but it's still a gorgeous card, right?
So Brad, why the biggest elephant in the room on this topic is why are there not if you guys are so excited about growing at such a fast rate, wouldn't it be better to scale that back a bit and focus on like things like graders notes, like not grader point form notes, like the money that is coming into the company is gargantuan. You guys are 10, you're over 10 to 1 everybody else. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Why can someone, I did 33 cards I submitted. Why do I not have 33 reasons of every grade, in depth, technical? And if that Patrick Waugh got a 10, you're going to upcharge me. I absolutely want to know why that is a 10. There's a flip side to that.
Yep. So let's just think of it this way, because you're a business owner. We are all in business at some point in our lives. So when you submit a card, what do you look for when you're submitting a card? What do you want? What are the top 2 things? Because I'm going to put words in your mouth because I think I know what they are, because these are my things. I want to pay the least amount of money for my grading fee, and I want my cards back the fastest I possibly can get them back. Those are the 2 things. I want to pay the least amount of money, and I want my cards back.
Okay.
So right now, with our turnaround times and our pricing, we are at capacity as a company. We cannot grade cards anymore. So if we lower the price, it's going to give us, it's opening the floodgates. We're going to get more cards. It's going to take longer for you to get your cards back.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we can control that. So we try to keep that in. Those are the things that, and the other thing, if you want your cards back quicker, if we put grader notes on every card, it's going to take longer to do that.
I don't think so. I think there's 2 things going on here. You know who wants their cards back the fastest? Dealers and flippers. Dealers and flippers. Do you know who doesn't care about their cards back? Not a better part of the hobby, a different part of the hobby. See, I'm getting better. A different part of the hobby wants their cards. So an option would be great. I mean, you're like the collectors. You know, it's got to.
Would you pay for that though, Phil? Would you be willing to pay $5 more?
Absolutely, I would, and everybody else would too. Because I want to know the cards of the stars. So I'd like to know what's going on with the stars.
Yeah.
And if a flipper wants to buy 5 cases of the cup and get his Bedard RPA and grade it, and your PSA screwing me, I can't get it flipped quick enough, then he doesn't need any graders notes. He's not part of the hobby I'm worried about. I'm worried about me. My heart's broken. I love PSA. I love slabbed cards, and it's just too much happened, and too much has happened, and I really enjoy this conversation. But graders notes are the mecca of change that PSA could bring.
But you guys have graders notes that you've rolled out, right? To some capacity.
They're not in. It's not going to tell you an elastic bands around it.
No, it will say edges. If you look at Express and above, but we're working our way to that.
It's point form.
Yeah, it will come down, and it will come down more and more and more. The more things we can do, we will. The biggest collector that I know in the world, and I thought I was I honestly, I thought I was the number one passionate guy about these pieces of cardboard because they're part of who I am. They're in my blood. They're in my DNA. All of a sudden, and I don't want to say I know Nat all that well, but there's nobody that's more passionate of a collector that I've ever met than him. Right from the same thing as me. When we were kids, he started, he was buying, he was selling cards. He posts on Instagram all day. He answers everyone's DMs. He does all these things. If we can improve the collector experience in any way, also, remember, we're running a business as well. If you can improve the collector experience anyway, we're going to do it. We're going to check those boxes. I just made a little note while you were talking, Phil. I said, hey, maybe when we have another session where we brainstorm and ideas, maybe we can offer a service that, hey, maybe we can provide graders notes on certain cards, charge more money for it because it's going to take a little effort. But Phil, I bet you it will be 0.001% of the people will want that service. Maybe
you think so?
I do, because people want back to what I said before. What are the 2 things people want? Cheapest price, cards back quicker. That's what 99.99% of the people that submit.
That makes me sad. That makes me sad. That makes me feel the hobby. Well, that means I'm going to go even harder on Friday nights with Phil and show how fun collecting can be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Phil, that's important. That's so important to it as true hobbyists. Like we live for that. Like I live for these cards.
That's my baby.
Like I live for this. And you say, oh, you know what? You need to have your cards graded. It's like, no, we need.
Oh, you're my spirit animal.
That's awesome.
No, but honestly, Phil, like this is all part of collecting. But we're a segment in it, and
but Brad, it's gotten, even if you go on Reddit, there's like 15-year-old kids who are just so excited when they get a great card. And listen, I wish I had a stake in PSA with what I'm about to say. Grading a card with PSA is just as common now as buying a pack of cards. You can't and hey, man, that's awesome, and I'm glad for your career and the entire PSA. It sounds like a great place to work. But as a collector, that does hurt me a bit. And there has to be a bit of piece of your heart that a kid, like I'm alone on my throne here when I'm buying raw cards. Like I really am. It's not a very vocal thing to do. You know how hard it is to find a Connor McDavid clean raw card? They don't exist. They're all smart.
Can I interject here though? Because, and I think I've told you this before, Phil, in one of our private conversations. I had an epiphany around grading a couple of months ago while I was watching some other hobby content. And it's one thing when you get like these hobby shows where there's 30, 40, 50-year collectors that all sit around and that have looked at the Wayne Gretzky rookie 10,000 times. And for me, it's like, I realized that when I went back to when I was very naive about the hobby not too long ago, that actually grading was an important part of it. It reduced variables and risks in certain ways, right? So like if I'm just a casual collector and I see a card that's graded, I know that it's authentic. And I've been duped on raw cards that I bought with autos, like big. I mean, I have over there, I've talked to them before, the two Michael Jordan autos that had certain COAs that I bought for $1,000 a piece. They're fake. Yeah, it sucks. That's an expensive lesson to learn, that, oh, just because it's got a code and a website that says it's real, it doesn't mean it's real. And then, you know, whether or not how to whatever degree you buy into the efficacy of whatever a human grader does, as a new collector, if I see a card in like a PSA 9, I know it's authentic and I have at least some idea of what the condition of that card is. And where most of the hobby are not people like you, Phil, who have been doing this for 30 years. Most are very novice people. That removes two huge areas of risk as I'm trying to go, as I'm getting into the hobby.
That's a very good point. I never think that. I'm me, right? I don't ever think that. And I like what you said, an element of trust. Like, oh, it's somebody else said this is okay and they're an authority in the industry. It's you can sleep better, right? Is that what you mean?
Well, those mistakes, you know, like how many people buy $2,000 a piece Michael Jordan autos, learn they're fake a week later, and remain in the hobby?
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's very well said, Josh. And that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Like I have bought fake autographs. I bought fake cards. The amount of mistakes and people say, "Oh, there's no way. How didn't you pick up on that?" The other day at AMG, Sherry brought a Pokemon card that was in a fake PSA holder. He gave it to me and said, "Did you notice anything wrong with it?" And I turned it back and forth. I was like, I don't know. It's a Pokemon card. It was Charizard or whatever it was. And I'm staring at it going, no, not even thinking. She's like, that's a fake slab.
You didn't even. Oh, that is amazing. I love your honesty. That's phenomenal.
As soon as she pointed it out, and all of a sudden I went, oh yeah, absolutely. But to that point, initially I wasn't expecting that, so I didn't know. But when you think about the amount of nefarious people that have come into this hobby and have always been in this hobby, things have been happening shady in the 80s and the 90s. It's the way it goes.
There's bad people everywhere. There's bad people.
There's money, there's fraud. So that's one thing that we do forget about. The first thing we do as a company, we do assign a numerical grade, which means so much to so many people, including me. I get caught up in the numerical grade as well as everyone. We authenticate the item. That it's such an important part. The amount of fake Pokemon cards that are surfacing out there, like every day, there's kids that will come into the PSA submission center and drop off cards and be like, this is a fake. This is why, and explain and educate them, and they learn their lesson, and then they know to move on to the next deal. But it happens continuously. It's tough. It's very, very tough. I think there was a stat that 90% of the Michael Jordan 86 flares that we receive as a company are counterfeit.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a constant battle with these things.
So I would assume that the Gretzky rookie percentage, maybe not be 90%, but you get your fair share of fakes with that card.
We do, and I will say this: as a Gretzky's my idol, my hero. He's everything, and I have 120 Gretzky rookies or something like that now. Most of them are PSA ones.
It's crazier than me.
Yeah, I used to pay $100 for any Gretzky, and I didn't.
You mean you're not a Shane Pinto fan, are you? Because Phil has 400 Pinto Young Guns.
It's a long year. There's still lots of time left. That's crazy. Brad over 100 Wainers. That's wild.
But that's something that I have yet to be fooled on a Gretzky rookie, personally. And I still say, you know what, could it happen? Absolutely. Like if I'd be wrong to say that it wouldn't. Michael Jordan 86 flares. Some of the ones that come through, I'm just like, no.
Nice try.
Send it in if you want, because I'm not going to give you the thing. But at Gretzky rookies, most of the counterfeits out there are pretty easy to detect.
Can I ask a question about the training? Do you know? You might not know, Brad, but if PSA or collectors hires me and I want to be a grader, how long is the training?
Again,
or is it different? Like, do you start at low end cards?
You do start at low end cards, absolutely. And I'm going to say it's 6 months. There's a full grading university, is what we call it.
Awesome. I would love. They should talk about that. You should show us that. But write it on the notes. Bring it up on the next meeting. Say the people need to see how our grading university. You could market that well. Yeah. Like a good-looking man, a good-looking woman, a YouTube video. It'd be beautiful, man.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's not like when you have big cards that go through, like on the on-site grading events, when I get to sit in the grading room and just watch the guys, which is, it's the greatest thing. And you'll see 4 or 5, all guys are going to, multiple people are going to look at the card and they're all going to talk about it and they're all going to give their opinions on it.
So that happens. Okay. That's
100%.
So it's not just one guy, boom, or woman, and they never say anything. Do they ask for second opinions ever? And
always.
That is, I've never known that. I don't think anybody has ever known what you just said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, when you look at it, that's probably the coolest thing I see when I experienced that the first time. And I didn't even know. I was like, that's the grading room. At the first on-site event, I'm like, not going near that place. Not going near that place.
Like the count room at a casino.
Absolutely. Stay clear of the grading room.
I picture a room full of cubes. The room's completely dark, and everybody at their cube has their own little lights, and they're just in there doing their thing, and then the cards just move on.
Yeah.
No, your information is great because everybody's got questions about this stuff and they want to know.
Yeah.
But why does it seem like it's so? I mean, I know the big answer to it, but why is so much of it so hush hush?
Secretive, mysterious. Is it on purpose?
Yeah, I don't know, actually, to tell you the truth. Like, again, I feel like I'm one of the guys on the Gongshow show right now. We're spitballing and we're talking. I'm learning as I go. I don't know. Maybe the mystique behind it could be even some of the marketing behind it. Who knows for sure, right? Like what goes on behind the closed doors? It's that I do think we are opening the doors more and more, and I think you'll see more and more of that come over time. There's no doubt in my mind. The number one thing that I learned from every grader at multiple companies, and the head guy at CGC, Broom. He's such a nice guy. Their head grader at CGC, one of the nicest guys. I talked to him one time for a half hour at the Mint Collective in Vegas. Just me and him, Brad, just talking to anyways, sorry, I feel bad. I can't think of his name.
He sounds memorable.
No, he's awesome. He's
No, I'm being a jerk.
his last name is Broom. Anyways, the stuff that we talked about and he told me, it was so informative and it was so nice. And this was before I was officially part of PSA, and it was one of the best experiences I had. But one thing that I can tell people is, especially on a modern card, when I see people blow it up 100 times under their massive magnifyings and loops and everything else, the number one thing you can do as a person that submits cards, use light. Use light when you're looking at a card. I don't, if I'm sending a modern card, I would never use a magnifying. Me personally, Brad, the collector, that, when I'm going to look through and send in a card, I'm not going to use a magnifying glass to look at my Drew O'Connor, which I think could be a stud still. I'm simply going to take it out and use the light. Have a high-powered light come down on it, shift it every way, see what you can see for imperfections, look at the corners, make sure it's good and clean, put it in the sleeve, send it off, see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, so a couple of things that I can just interject here, because I've spent a long time in the marketing world, and I'm not talking about PSA specifically, but just my observations of what happens at big companies, is that big companies, it becomes harder and harder the bigger you get to maintain sort of that personal connection with your customers, because you have so many customers and it's millions of cards are being graded a month. And what happens in the mind there, our brains are imperfect, and the more distant a company feels, the more that we start to kind of treat them like the evil empire, right? You look at all the big companies in the world, and a lot of people have sort of this mistrust, or it's like what their intentions are almost bad. And so I think, part of why it's good for someone like Brad at PSA to come on a show like this is that it reminds us that PSA is not an evil empire necessarily. They're full of human beings that are imperfect, but are trying to run a good business and serve their customers in the process of doing that. And the one kind of other thing, Phil, that I've thought about in the last couple of days, anticipating this conversation, you were ambushed, but we knew it was coming, was that as butthurt as you've been about your 30 card PSA submission, have you considered that the smartest business practice for PSA would have been to send you all back 10s?
Yeah, no, of course I think that. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. And so like, and people will have their own opinion as to whether it's PSA or any other grading company as to how you are effectively sort of balancing the pursuit of trying to grow your business with the ethics of maintaining integrity in your grading, because by them returning that submission and making you sad, that's cost them money because you've stopped paying them to grade your cards.
Yeah, I haven't sold a slab yet too, which is, so I'm all talk. I'm not a lot of I still have some questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, this is your Festivus. This is your present.
So, Brad, thanks guys. I don't know if this would be a fair question, Brad, but in-person autos, I did a little bit, and there's some, I'm going to say it's not even subjective. It's obviously not from the athlete, but they were PSA approved. And yes, mistakes happen. I understand. And this might be very unfair to you because it just might be. How do you get in-person autos back to the customer that quick and authenticate them with integrity? How does that happen? Is there a master database of all the autographs? I'll let you answer.
Yeah, I want to know this too.
Yeah. So I deal with trading cards, not passing the buck off here. I deal with trading cards. I figured. Yeah. And PSA DNA is something that I'm learning. I went out to the Van City show and I was with the autograph authenticators, and we did.
Oh, okay.
We ran through. I'm just learning. So
yeah, okay.
I know one thing is that I kind of observed. I didn't ask a lot of questions because it was my first rodeo per se.
Yeah.
So as I do more with that, I am going to ask these questions because I'm very curious about it. I as an autograph collector,
yeah,
I wonder all these things, everything that you said. How do you know? Like, especially you look at Gretzky autographs and you see some of them early years and scribbled on a Gretzky rookie that's in a slab from any grading company out there. How do they determine that is real.
And the person who has it swore, and Gretzky could have been leaning like this and just
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? We're going to tell this guy he's a liar when it's his card? You can't, right?
Absolutely. So how does that work? I don't know. So it's not that I don't want to answer, because I do.
No, I figured you would. It's a different thing, right? It's a totally different thing.
As time goes on and we keep advancing with collectors in Canada, in a perfect world, I'd love to have Collectors, our parent company, and everything that falls under Collectors, we offer to Canadians to make it easy and frictionless for them to submit whatever it is, whether it be to PCGS with this is Brad Hartlin's wish list. This is not PSA. This is not PSA, but I want to be able to send, if you've got a 1948 Canada silver dollar and you want it in a PCGS holder and grade it, I want to be able to send that for you to make it make you comfortable shipping it across the border, get it back safe, insured, secure, so you're a happy customer. If it's a Funko, if it's an autographed Steve Yzerman game used stick, if it's a type 1 photo, if it's a trading card, whatever we offer as a company, I want to be able to help Canadians submit those items. So that's my goal, and I'll learn as I go.
Awesome. I love, we can revisit this in a year. Another Festivus present for Phil.
Yes.
I like how you brought up the coin collecting, because there are graders notes for coins, right? I have a bunch of old Morgans, and there's graders notes on my Morgans. Like but you won't do it on the cards. It's crazy. Okay. Next up, the up charges. Do you feel that is necessary? Is that a necessary part of business? Upcharging expensive cards that got good grades based on the fact that you are assuming the card will be sold, and it is a very good assumption the way the market is going. But I'm an outlier, so if I get that 10 on my Patrick Waugh, it's going to cost me more money for my personal collection. I feel that is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying, but why do you care if it's a 10, 9, 8, or 7 then if you don't care?
Well, I don't.
Okay, so why would you ever complain about it?
No, I'm just, okay, then I won't use myself.
Phil, I'm just talking with you. I'm just curious though, but if you
No, I'm not asking the question right. So let's say Sylvain, that's his business. He makes more money off of 10s.
Yeah.
So PSA is saying, okay, you're going to make more money, so we want a piece of the pie. Is that the answer?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. That's perfect.
And it falls into our grade guarantee is a big thing. Again, our senior leadership team's done lots of videos on these to explain why, what goes into it, why the upcharges are there, what part of the grade guarantee. If you asked me this question 4 years ago, I'm exactly like you, Phil.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
You're doing the same job. You're doing the same thing. As I have learned and navigated my way through and realized how important the grade guarantee is, how important all these things and how all this flows, I understand it now, and I fully support it.
I'm gonna be also known as drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. No,
sorry.
I am, and it's part of it's our brand that Matt just did a great interview with Neo on, which is very good. And Neo asked a lot of these questions, and he gave a lot of answers to it. And most of these things that you have said will be answered in that.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I love this entire conversation. I have like 2 more things left. If I had to pick one thing and it's a landslide, it's the upcharging. Yeah. Because that to me says, we know exactly what we're doing. We're making hand over fist money, and so are you. So we want a piece of that pie. That just leaves a kind of a almost like I can't say this word, but not an integraful move. That move does not feel like it has merit, and that's just my opinion.
Look, can I push back personally on that? Is like,
go ahead.
When you say like lack of integrity, not if that existed and you didn't know it, right? So if there was no way that the new upcharges didn't exist, and now you got your grade, and they say that, oh, now here's an upcharge, I would say that's probably low ethics or low integrity.
Okay.
It says right on their site that they're going to upcharge you, so you're knowing you're getting into it, and it's your choice as a consumer to grade or not. So I just don't understand how it's low integrity. If you're doing something willingly, you understand that if your card gets a higher grade, that there's going to be an upcharge.
So I used the wrong word. It sucks. It sucks when they charge you more money when your card gets a good grade. End of story. Yes, and I'm choosing not to grade my cards with any company, so I'm choosing not to take opportunity of that thing. I agree, but I'm saying as a business owner, if I trim a tree and it looks prettier than their neighbor, I don't charge them more money because they're going to get more money when they sell their house. That's insane to me.
Do you, Phil, if you're good at your profession,
Yes,
and you have someone next door that does the same profession as you, and they don't do as good a job,
yeah,
do you think that you can charge more to do the
I do
same
charge more. I'm the highest in the city.
Okay.
But if I know they're selling their house, I don't charge more because I'm making their house look better.
You bring more to the table because of your services, so you charge more money, correct?
Correct. But
Perfect.
there is your service. There's a mystery to it. There's no mystery to mine. No one knows the grade coming. Like I don't know. I'm not moving on this one. I think it's just a crappy feeling to know that you get charged more if the grade.
I'm gonna send this card in, and oh my god, if it gets a 10, I'm gonna be charged so much more.
Well, the poopy situation is if you're a collector like you, Phil, and
yes, that's what I'm
you send a big card in that you want graded, and all of a sudden you couldn't afford to keep it.
Could you imagine?
Because of the upcharge, but then I guess the alternative for that is, well, you shouldn't grade it until you
can keep it as well. You can keep it if you choose and it comes back to a grade and you do not want to accept the upcharge.
Yeah.
You can just deny the upcharge. You don't pay. You get your card back.
That's great. I'm very firm on this one. There's something that just doesn't sit right with that whole process. But let's move on because everything else has been great. Listen, and I kind of like it, but I'm gonna have to bring it up because I think people watching are gonna want to know what's up with the lack of changing, and it's got to be for history. It's got to be so far gone now you can't change it. The white and red label, is that just gonna stay forever? Because I mean, I don't know if you've seen tag labels, but they're a lot different.
I sure hope that we never change it. Personally, this is about. I never want our flip to change. I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
It has evolved over the years. Things have changed. We're constantly changing our holders. We're updated. I absolutely love it. It's clear to the point. It doesn't take away anything from the card. At first, I remember when a few of the companies, like the AI companies, I don't like to mention other names, but came out back years ago, and they had I thought they were the coolest logos when you could have the backdrop and you could have like a Marvel card and the Superman flying through the air.
Oh yeah, I can't. There's like 7-8 months that was around, I think. Yeah.
I was like, oh, those are cool. And then all of a sudden I was like, no, I want my cards. I love our label. And I love our packaging, and I love our box with the crappy little styrofoam that you said.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I love our boxes. Our boxes I think they're great. Again, we're constantly changing all that to make sure the cards get back as safe as possible as well. So our boxes have evolved. We're constantly changing, and a lot of the changes, from what I understand, cost more money to do. But we want to keep improving that. Collectors is run by collectors, and that's a true statement. And at the end of the day, we want to make the collecting journey a better place. And we take all the feedback. I take all the feedback I can get. We have 6,500 customers in Canada that submit with PSA Canada. And my phone number, if you go on psacard.com, it says Brad Hartlin, 902-880-8895. There's my number. Give me a call. And again, it's a when you put it out there, you have to be prepared to bear the brunt. If you want to DM Nat Turner on Instagram, he'll get back to you. He'll get back to you right away. He'll talk to you. Obviously, as long as you were cordial.
Yeah. Of course. There's this crazy guy who says he knows you, Brad. Like, I don't know who that guy is.
But it's good. And one thing that I do want to kind of sum up on that is there's times that you're a collector, Phil. Like you love cards. I see it. 100%. Josh, BabaLewi. Me too. I'm a collector, but I do collect based on value. I don't buy a card. Ever in my life have I bought a card and said, I don't care if this it becomes worthless.
Uh-oh.
No, anytime. Again, if I'm going to spend $1 on a card or $10, if I'm going to buy you, Phil, you want a raw Connor McDavid young gun. You're looking for one.
I got one.
Okay, perfect. How much? I shouldn't.
$1,000.
$1,000.
Okay, so when you bought that, if that card in 4 years goes to $1, will that affect you at all? Will you be mad?
If I bought 2, you're asking the wrong guy. Yeah.
No. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to say there is a value to this. We're buying pieces of cardboard at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there's a value that's aside. I don't care if a lot of my stuff ever goes up and stuff goes down. I've got 891 Upper Deck Todd Van Poppels that I paid $1.50 a piece for.
That was the biggest hit ever, man, back in the day.
That's
you just said that. That's crazy, yeah.
$1,200 US at a flea market in Florida for 800 of them. Thought it was the greatest adventure I ever did.
He's crazier than I am.
Now I have to make fun of you.
You guys are two peas in a pod.
Brad, you're my brother. We're the same person, brother. This is crazy. Yeah.
Now I know, but at the end of the day, that was stupid. I got them. I own the Alex Manoah. I get ripped all the time. The 1-of-1 superfractor Alex Manoah, because he was going for the Cy Young. He was going to be the greatest pitcher. I'm a huge Jays fan. Paid $12,000 for it. I don't know if he's ever going to pitch again. Stupidest decision I ever made. Ever invested in this.
I think we found our new host.
Yeah.
It's ups and downs. It's the trials and tribulations. But again, we do all collect knowing that there is some sort of a value, whether it's going to be passed down.
Yeah, you're right.
To people, and there's some sort of a value.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you, because I will admit I shake my head a little bit when you hear people that try to maybe take the I'm just a pure collector stance, where even if you don't, because at the end of the day, we all tend to like the cards that are the most valuable too. You ever notice that? Like, you don't see many people showing off collections of worthless stuff, right? And so value does play a part, because value is tied into rarity. And the whole concept of rarity is I have something that you don't have, and that makes it, and that kind of creates value around it. And so, yeah, I don't think anyone in this hobby can honestly say that they care nothing about value.
Right. I agree with that. And
I don't. I'm seriously. I don't.
But so you don't desire cards that are expensive?
I think they're cool. If I like them, I don't desire it because it's expensive.
I feel like I do sometimes. I feel like I would fall in that category, and
I don't.
To be honest, I like expensive things sometimes, but I buy my underwear at Zellers. I mean, whatever.
But I would say, Louis, even indirectly, because typically the coolest cards are the most valuable, right? And so it's all kind of intertwined.
Yeah,
it is. But
I just think we don't buy anything in life. We buy it, a collectible, a tangible item, and say, can't wait till this goes to zero. Or
you're right. We don't.
It's something. It's some sort of a value to it. Again, I'm not saying for the monetary gain, but we buy things and we appreciate the value that it does have, and that adds to the excitement of it. And maybe that value can be a lot of different ways, not necessarily always tied just to the almighty dollar, but it's fun. Like I don't want to use Van Poppel again. I can use many guys like that I have.
I love how you said that, Van Poppel. I know I can see the card perfectly in my head. It's seared into my brain.
They're worthless, but I love that I have 800 of them. I think it's fantastic.
Greg Jeffries. Remember Greg Jeffries?
Jeffries. Yeah. I have a PSA 9 of. Again, one of the things, if you want to ask, I love collecting PSA 9s. PSA 9 mint card. I love it. I absolutely think the biggest problem right now is that we don't value PSA 9s enough.
Thank you.
We really don't. And I don't understand why. I think at some point it will.
I think it's a supply issue, Brett, is that you guys are grading so many cards that there's so many 10s flooded into the market that it, to some degree, the laws of economics.
Right. But look at how many card PSA 10s is there now? Because I love your guys. You haven't done it in a while.
Oh my God.
6,300.
6,300. How many PSA 9s?
6,500, something like that.
So it's almost equal 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
Right. So I just think when those multipliers get to I think me and you talked about this, Josh, when it gets to a certain point, would you sooner have 5 PSA 9 Connor Bedards or 1 PSA 10? Obviously,
5-9.
you can't do that right now with Bedard because it's
Yeah.
more what? Like it's more like a 3-to-1 in that
Yeah.
range, 2.5, 3-to-1. But there's guys like Sebastian Aho. You can pick up his 9s for $20 now, his 10s 100. It's a 5-to-1 ratio. So what's the best buy? Sebastian Aho gets hot and he gets up to those top levels. Usually like Ovechkin, Crosby's 2.5-to-1. So if you can buy at 5-to-1, shouldn't you buy the 9s? Like Timmy Stützle's PSA 9s. I absolutely love them. One of my favorite buys out there is PSA 9s.
You're a Timmy fan, Brad? Yeah? Timmy Tantrums?
Love them.
It's amazing, eh?
Well,
Brad,
I preferred. Sorry, Phil. I like the system, like going back to the pandemic boom, where like a lot of people would say a PSA 8 equates to a raw, a PSA 9 is 1.5 time multiplier over raw, and then a PSA 10 is 2.5 to 3.5 time multiplier. And now you're right, it's PSA 10 or nothing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we have to educate the hobby on that as well. One of the things that I face a lot is that when you buy, as Phil, you talked about you just picked up your McDavid.
Yeah.
If you go on to eBay and you buy a Connor McDavid Young Gun rookie and you get it to you, what's the odds that is going to be a 9 or 10?
not good.
Do you know, like, what do people?
It's past. It's gone. It's been too long now. They're all picked up.
And people that are selling these cards on eBay, if you sell cards on eBay, you probably grade cards or understand that a PSA 9 is worth a PSA 10 is worth $3,500. Well, I'm going to sell this raw. I'm going to send it to PSA. Oh, well, it's got that massive print line on it, or it's got this, or it's got that. So we have to educate people about that. And I do that constantly, especially with the young kids in Atlantic Canada I'll say hundreds that I regularly talk to, and I say, don't go up to a guy's table at a card show that has 300 PSA graded Young Guns on his table and he's got a shoebox full of Young Guns. Don't go up there and buy those and expect those to be 10s.
Yeah.
Like, he grades cards. You have to know that he does that, right? Because then what happens is all of a sudden they buy those cards, they send it to PSA, they get 8s and 9s, they don't get any 10s, and then they're like, we got another rant coming my way from a young 15-year-old that just hates PSA all of a sudden. And again, it's all part of the education process. And I think as we keep growing as a hobby, and everything that you guys do as the Gong Show is so important, like, focus and bring guests on and talk about different things and educate people, because most of the content that we have is just shock content. It's not actually educating the consumers. And I think it's so important. And that's why I love what you guys do.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, so my last question, well, maybe not. Does it bother you how it's become par for the course if in water cooler talk, like, I got my 6 cards back, I got 4 10s and 2 9s, oh, just send them back. Yeah, I'm gonna just crack them and send them back. I'll just keep getting them for 10s. I'm not making a stink. It's just it's become that casual. Like, it's not it's just not a big deal. Does that not bother Brad Hartlin? That it's just like, we strived, look how much passion you've given this. I don't know, we're all shooting the poop here and we're just hanging out. But look how proud you are to work for PSA. Look at the passion. Look how much Nat Turner loves his cards. I would think that would bother him, how that's just so casually accepted now of PSA. Just reslab it. Any grading company, just crack it, reslab it. You just got to pay the difference.
Yeah, and I think that's why we have to grow this hobby. We have to emphasize the importance of lower grades. And this is my personal.
I love it. I like that. No, I like it.
It's not from PSA. This is from Brad. But the importance of how do we get the value of 9s back to where it should be.
I like it.
Josh, you mentioned it. Like, it used to be a little more that way. Like, now 9s are less. Sometimes 9s can sell for less than raw.
Well, it's happening in vintage. I think it's mainly an ultra modern problem. The rage in vintage, and I love this, is low grade, high eye appeal. Why pay extra for a crappy? There
Is
you
that
go,
your
Phil,
8?
Yeah. 8. I got this for $20 and it's an 8. $20. The dealer didn't even want it. He was like, no, get away from me.
But Phil, if you pay attention to like the vintage community, they're actively seeking 3s that look like 5s from it that may still be a 3 technical grade, but present as a 5. That is the rage, because the idea is you get a great looking card
Yeah.
at a discount, because if essentially, and grading is so much different, I find, in vintage and ultra modern, where like you'll have, in the lower the grade, the wider the spectrum of condition that you'll have. So like you'll find a Gretzky PSA 2 rookie, one that looks so awful that you're like, how could this ever gotten a 2? And then you'll find a one at the, the high eye appeal end, where you're like, wow, this kind of looks like a 7 in a weird way. And that's like where the vintage, where the passion is going, is I think, Brad, to what you're talking about, is finding that it's a value play, right?
Absolutely.
I can buy and there'll be, the good 2 will go for more than the crappy one, but it's still in that price band that a PSA 2 would command, versus buying a 7, which you're going to automatically, just because that number on the label, it kicks you way up into a whole different price category. And so, yeah, I think it's more, how do you get that mentality into ultra?
Into modern.
And do you find that it's becoming who's right and who's wrong? And this is one thing that we have to work on. Let the people that play in this space, whatever it is, let them play in their space and let them have fun and enjoy it. Don't knock what they do. Don't knock what I do. Don't knock what Phil you do. There's so much of this pointing back and forth and finger pointing, like, oh, I can't believe that sucker, that's a PSA 9, but it looks like an 8, and they scrutinize it and they say, well, the guy that bought the 9, he's putting money in our hobby and he's happy with that, or he wouldn't have bought it. Like, let them.
I don't like bullies.
No.
There's a lot of bullies. Yeah,
there absolutely is. And so many times people think that, I guess you can use the term, like, we all influence people in some way, whether it's good intentions or bad intentions, but we all do. Like, I don't want to say you guys are intentionally influencing people, because I know you're not, but you do influence people. Like, you have
when we have to remind ourselves too of, we talk about this, about we speak to a lot of people by, we still don't understand why, but a lot of people listen and watch our show, and we have our own personal feelings. Like, Phil, you don't like, I wouldn't love upcharges either, but we have to balance our own personal opinions and biases against, not, like, to say, like, I hate grading, right? Sure, we can have that opinion, but you guys are grading 1.5 million cards a month, so obviously a lot of people like it,
yeah, like
right?
Breakers, right?
So that's like a tricky balance, and not just like goofy podcast hosts, but everybody. We get very opinionated on this stuff, and we get very absolutist as well, right? And we think that our opinion represents all, whatever the hobby, all million collectors or whatever.
Yeah, the three of us are pretty good though at, like, smoothing each other out, though, because all three of us collect very differently.
Yeah,
that's true. So we always talk about, certain ways, or why Phil gets what he gets and why Josh chases his, and why I'm like,
yeah. And Phil makes fun of all the cards he hates. He thinks every card I buy is stupid. So
that's okay.
Very, very, very intentionally. So, Phil, have you liked your Festivus present? Was it?
I did, Brad. I just wanted a little bow. Next year, I just want a little bow on top of Brad's head, and I'll be even happier. Brad, you must have a banger collection. No, I'm done with the PSA stuff. But you must have an amazing. So Friday nights with Phil, if you're ever available, I'd love to see what you got. And I'm sure my audience would love to see it too.
Yeah, I a lifelong collector of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, I do all 4 sports. Hockey obviously is my number one sport. It's being a former hockey player. I just love everything. I love everything to do with the sport. But I do, yeah. I have every rookie card from 48 to 89 in all 4 major sports.
Wow.
That I finished a couple years ago, and we talk about this, and people are like, oh, you could upgrade. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah. Because not every card has a story, but most of my cards have a story.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
right? And I love how I've acquired them. I love how I do it. My PSA 7 is my top Wayne Gretzky, and I bought it for $70 in 1988 at Blue Nose Coin Shop, corner of Almond and Windsor Street in Halifax. And I waited to get it graded. I thought it was going to be, in my head, this could be the third PSA 10. This is so nice.
Amazing.
Send it. Come back.
Brad, do the guys know about your hockey career? Do they know about your Q?
Yeah.
No, I little birdie told me you were the number one pick
okay.
in the queue, right?
Yeah, I was a first round pick that didn't pan out. But my life panned out pretty good afterwards, so I'm happy. No, I did that. I went to rookie camp with the Senators and the Sharks.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's crazy, man. Nice.
Wow.
Stepped on the ice, I remember, and Larry Onoff and Makarov were just finishing up in San Jose, and they were coming off the ice and we were going on. And I watched them at the end of their career firing the pucks back and forth, just doing things that we see everywhere on YouTube now. But in 1994, wasn't just blows your mind away when you see
breaks your brain while you're like, how is that doing that?
You know what? I don't have a long career at this sport. I kind of realized at that point and decided to come home. But
hey, you went through that. That's far bigger. That's top 0.1% of anybody else in the country, man. I salute you. I think I tried out for Junior B Perth Blue Wings, and I left. I tried to get off the ice before the practice was even over. I was like, I should not be here. So I think. Yeah, well, I'm only 5'9", man. I was a defenseman that could barely skate backwards. Like, I shouldn't be on there. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but
my favorite story to make fun of myself, it's a quick one, but I've said this many times, and this is a true story. I get traded from St. Hyacinthe in the Quebec League to the Beauport Harfangs, and I scored in Beauport my first game, first shift. Eric Daze, who, Phil, I know you would know. I think Josh, you guys, anyways. Yeah. Feathered this pass over to me and I banged it. I scored first shift. I went to the bench. I was like, oh my God. Okay. One period, one goal. If I get a goal a period, 3 goals per game, there's about 40 games left in the season. I'm just going to be on fire. Never scored again that year.
Oh,
what?
First shift,
my goodness.
Never scored again for 25 till the playoffs. Then I scored another one, but that was it.
Amazing. Did you ever play against Peter Worrell? Did you ever see him?
Absolutely. Peter played in Hull when I played in
Beauport. I saw it, man. Me and my friends and I would go across the river just to go watch him pummel people, man. He was crazy.
We had off my Beauport, we had 9 guys that went off to play in the NHL off my junior team. And we had the I will say this, the toughest team in the history of junior hockey.
Really?
We had like Patrick Cote. I know you guys remember Cote, played in Dallas, drafted by Dallas. He's actually currently serving a life sentence in jail. He played for Dallas, Edmonton Oilers. There's going to be a Netflix show on this guy. He was off the charts. Joel Theriault, who I don't know. If you Google Joe Theriault, he's still fighting. He's still playing in the Quebec Senior League, fighting every week. It's great. Louis Bedard, Yannick Tremblay.
He sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Eric Belanger, Donald McLean, Derek Walser, Martin Biron was our goalie.
Marty, nice.
Christian Laflemme, Martin
Paul Shantz?
Rangers. No, he wasn't there. But again, we played in a little barn, 1,000 seats in Beauport.
Oh man, that's cozy, eh? Isn't that great? Like the memories, you're a Canadian commercial. Have some pancakes with some syrup on it.
Absolutely. And every shift you'd be just ready. Someone wanted to drop the gloves at some point.
Oh, I love it. That's great. That's fun.
All right, that's Brad, awesome. I have 2 more things. You've been very generous with your time.
Poor Brad.
The first is I want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about what you're doing in Canada and, what you can share at this time about kind of PSAs, what your initiatives are for the Canadian market.
Yeah. So officially, our president, Ryan Hogue, did come out and say that we're having an office which is going to be in Ontario. The announcement's going to come when we will be opening. We'll be expanding our team, hiring numerous people. We will offer a lot of new services. Again, part of my job and mandate is to eliminate as much friction as possible. Anything I can do to make it easier for Canadians to submit their cards to PSA, that's what I want to do. So yeah, we've got a lot of cool things. There's more. The announcement's going to come in mid-January, and I'd love to share more of those details now, but every day we're working towards my goal. And I'm very
Nice.
excited to be leading the team. And I've got an amazing support staff. We have a guy, Ryan Miller, who's head of international at PSA, who started just before I did. He was with Ford for a long time, and he's one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And he's helping with PSA grow. When I say internationally, he just got back from China. You know, he's in Japan, he's in Europe, in Germany, and he's all over the place. And I'm very fortunate to learn the corporate side of things from him because that's new to
Yeah.
me. And again, as I grow in this position, I can lean on him, and he's more like a new hobbyist. Just started.
Oh yeah,
Just
so you can educate him.
100%. So we work so well together, and I'm very fortunate to keep learning from him. And I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't have the leadership and I didn't have the team. I didn't believe in them. And that's not BS. That's me telling straight how it is. I believe in this company. I believe in the leadership team. I believe in the employees, and I've had so many friendships that over the course since I started, and it's exciting.
What I think is cool is getting to know the Canadian market and how, it's like the border has been a big issue for a long time. And so it sounds like that the big message there is for Canadian collectors that, PSA is taking seriously the Canadian collector and, like you said, reducing those friction points. So that's, I think, pretty cool.
Yeah,
Looking forward to hearing more.
every Canadian is going to be able to submit direct to us, and they'll never have to worry about shipping across the border.
It'll never cross.
We will take care of that. You'll be fully insured, and we will take care of that. So you never, as a customer, you don't have to worry about your package going across the border, dealing with customs, dealing with all the things that you can deal with. We're gonna take that all away and make it easier for you to do. So
that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted, and this will take 5 minutes, but as part of our ruse to get you here without Phil knowing, I actually prepared some grading fun facts.
Oh, jeez.
Right. And Phil is very much a fan of America as well, and got dressed up in his Eagle outfit for this. So we want to acknowledge that. But with that being said, because I think some of these are kind of amazing, so I want to get your take on them too. There's like 6 fun facts here, but very in the vein of what Troy would do on the show. So here we go. If you look at 2023-24 Upper Deck flagship products, so it'd be Series 1, 2, and Extended, 76,429 cards have been graded. 91% of those were graded by PSA.
Yeah, antitrust coming in.
Right.
Yeah, well, why do you think you guys have such a like how would you explain, like, if I'm in an MBA class at university and like, why does PSA have such a high market share? What are the bullet points that you would kind of, you're the guest lecturer, that you would say?
That's a very, very good question. I'm kind of like Phil now. I feel like, okay, all right, I wasn't prepared for this one.
Good. I'm going to stare at you.
Honestly, the number one thing I would say is the brand. And you can take that in a lot of different directions, whether that's resale value, whether that's authenticity, but our brand is the number one thing that we have. And it's respected worldwide. As we continue to grow, as I talk about in these international markets, our brand is known all across the world.
Yeah.
And I think that is the number one thing we have. And I think, yeah, that would be my number one answer.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. The next one is a 3-parter, but they all kind of fit together. And I think good chance this blows your guys' minds. And it's you have to make the 3 of you have to make guesses. So first of all, it's how many Wayne Gretzky cards do you all think have been graded by PSA? The total amount of cards graded by PSA for Wayne Gretzky. Brad, I'll let you go last, Brad, in case you know.
Yeah.
Phil.
He probably can look up the answer in front of him.
Right? Show hands.
All right. Keep those hands up, Harlan. Of all time, I would say 15,000.
That's it?
Well, okay, 150,000. I don't know, man. I don't know.
How many times has PSA graded a Wayne Gretzky card?
A Wayne Gretzky card.
How
Ever.
many times has PSA
I'm saying
graded
100,000.
Rookie card. Sorry, right?
No. Just
Well-
any Wayne Gretzky card.
Oh, any
Total-
Wayne Gretzky card? How do you
Yes.
even know that? Okay, 1.8 million.
There, that's better.
All right, what do you think?
I'll
Wait.
say 2.5 mil.
Brad.
Wow, that's a fantastic. I was all excited because I was like, I know how many 79 O-Pee-Chees we graded. Well,
Probably like 5 mil.
within. Wow, if we've graded 100.
It's like counting cards. He's counting cards right now.
I'm going to say 460,000.
You guys are all a little bit high. So this is
Oh.
all by gem rate anyway. So the gem rate says 188,291.
That's it?
Really? You should have left me at 100K, you turd.
I didn't take you off 100K. I took you off 15,000.
Okay. So this is 3-part. Now we go back to Phil. Wayne Gretzky, 188,291. How many times has PSA graded a Connor McDavid card?
250.
Ooh, 100,000.
So you go 100,000, you go 250, Louis?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Brad?
Can you say it one more time?
How many times has PSA graded a Connor McDavid card? Any card.
Brad's taking this pretty seriously, eh?
We talk about usually the chat if I'm doing a live gets me distracted. But my dog just came. My dog just came up. And
Well, I don't know if you saw my dog licking the couch. It was literally you see the wet spot on the couch here. He spent like a half hour while you were talking, just licking the couch.
It's impossible for me to stay focused. I'm like, all right, he's just completely licking my toes right now, and I'm like, I'm not going to stay. Okay, so Gretzky was 168,000.
188,291 was Gretzky.
So I'm going to say Connor McDavid is 39,000.
Okay, so you were closest. I got to find the
Mm.
53,276. Okay, so remember question
I
3.
quit.
These are all
done.
sort of in concert with each other. So Wayne Gretzky cards have been graded 188,291 by PSA. Connor McDavid 53,276. Now, guys, how many Connor Bedard cards have been graded by PSA? All right, Phil, we'll go with you. So 188,000 for Gretzky, 53,000 for McDavid.
I say 23.8 thousand.
Okay.
Final answer,
Louis?
Bob.
29,000.
A little close to me.
You Price is right in him there.
I
All right,
did.
Brad, what do you think?
Yeah.
I can't change. 31.3.
What is this?
The answer is 73,736.
How's that
More
possible?
Connor Bedard cards have been graded by PSA than Connor McDavid.
We just got
Because there's-
Bedarded. We
Well,
got
what?
Bedarded.
Because there's 3,000 Bedard rookie cards right now or something
That's
stupid like that.
insane.
Does that
Oh,
not blow your mind?
Yes, that's
I know it was a long
crazy.
setup, but
I love
Wow.
that. I love those stats. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's gargantuan.
okay, we
Great.
got 2 more. And there's one more question one. The last one is just a fact I'll give you. So I'm going to give you 3 cards, and one of them is in the top 10 all-time most graded hockey card, or most PSA 10s for hockey. It has the top 10 most PSA 10s of any card. One of these 3 is in the top 10. You have to tell me which one it is. So the 2018 Elias Pettersson Young Guns, 2019 Cale Makar Young Guns, or 2020 Timmy Tantrums Young Guns.
Ooh. I want to
Or
go last
Phil-
this time.
All right, Lou, you go first. Pettersson, Makar, or Stützle?
Pedersen.
Brad, you want to guess?
Phil, you can go next.
Makar.
Perfect. I'm going Stützle.
Timmy Tantrums. Oh, here we go.
Stützle. I think it's like the 7th most highest PSA 10 pop count. Is
Oh, no kidding. Well, I was wrong, but I
You see
still
how
feel
we
like I
you
won.
see how we let the guest win?
Yeah. Oh, darn. Brad won.
Oh.
But honestly, the one thing I know you guys know this, but if you work your way up in the years, it just keeps on going up. It just,
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole pandemic that 2020 hobby class has. Stutzla, even like Dylan Cousins is in like the top 20 all-time highest PSA 10 pop count.
I
All
like
right, the
those.
last one, I could have done a question. I should have now, knowing how fun this is. But I just think it's amazing. So 57 hockey cards have at least 1,000 PSA 10s.
Oh,
Troy's got one.
Yeah.
Kaprizov's one of them.
Yeah.
so is that
You
the
guys
stat?
like grading fun facts?
Yeah.
I think that was fantastic. I was going to say, of those 57 cards that how many of those are young guns?
I'd say all of them.
No. There's like
No, 50.
Gretzky rookie has, a
Two.
couple of the great. No, it's two. No, it's
Jaeger Premier.
Yager 1990 Premier is one of them. A top 20 hockey card PSA 10 pop count is the Bedard top sticker.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like 3,500 PSA 10s of that.
Yeah.
3,500 graded stickers.
Well, I think they sold like 50,000 of them.
Those tops now, is that what you said?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Brad, do you have a mighty Gretzky collection?
Yeah, I do.
He has 120 rookies, Phil.
I wish we were neighbors, man.
Yeah, I do. I don't have
Brad
a lot
doesn't.
of Gretzky's.
Do you like the refractor? Do you like my favorite card or no?
Yeah, no, I do. I'm gonna. What would my favorite? Yeah, there's so many of them. I don't know. I probably got like 50 Gretzky modern cards, maybe, that are pretty cool and for different reasons in different ways. Like I'm still,
Okay.
I'm a lot like you, Phil, in the way of things like, I still the Dream Team cards.
Yeah, there you go. That's for you, Louis.
I love those cards. Like that's one of the nicest cards there is. The
Banger, man.
the Pinnacle Bees.
Yeah.
love those to death.
I have mine in boxes downstairs. I don't keep
Brad,
mine.
you're like a card dealer. You do fan them out really fast. You're like,
You look like a
$5,000.
magician. Brad could be a magician. Do you know any magic tricks?
Yeah.
You look
No,
like
I
you could be
cannot.
a magician. Yeah.
But honestly, there's a lot of that's, again, back to what we talked about earlier. A lot of the cards that I truly love the most necessarily aren't the most valuable. But and that is true. I growing up in the collecting through the junk wax era, I love all that stuff. This is a cool thing. I'll show you one thing before I
Yes. Look, we found another me who gets excited. This is great. If good listener.
yeah, can we call Brad better Phil? Is that it?
Right. Yeah,
Better
more
Phil.
refined Phil. Brad is refined.
Oh,
Phil.
that's the Gretzky case. Look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another story, another day. But there was some involvement in that. Anyways, it didn't happen. But so this is 1991. This is the first real moneymaker that I made in the hobby.
Purple? Oh, black. Yeah, there you go.
So this is the first year Premier boxes, which
Yeah.
but
Nice.
what makes this so cool is I went to O-Pee-Chee's factory and met the president, Gary Corinne, in 89, 90, and around that. And he was a friend of my dad, owned a hardware store. And the company was called Prem Doors. He was best friends with Gary Corinne. They got me into the factory, and I went to his office, and I stayed there for like 2 hours as a kid. It was unbelievable. But what I could do is I ordered direct. So if you look on this, it says Hartlin Center.
Nice.
PO box. So I could buy direct from O-Pee-Chee, and I don't have it right here, but I got the invoice. It was $7.20 Canadian per box.
Wow.
Right? So I was born in 76, so I'm like 14 years old. This is just right around when I was about to buy the card store. And all of a sudden I was buying these for $7.20 a box, and they went like to $50, to $100, to $150 a box. And it was like, this is when I realized I loved the hobby as a collector, but then I realized the business side of things.
Yeah.
But to have this case still with the Heartland Pro Home Center stamp on it, anyways.
Love it.
Yeah, that's one of my absolute favorite things. So.
Yeah, that's great, Brad.
Yeah. Again,
please come on my Friday nights at some point. Whenever I start at 9 o'clock, you can come on anytime.
Right. Yeah. I live for Friday nights with my buddy, who I always go. I shouldn't say always. I try to get on there as much as I can with the group of guys. So my Friday nights are dedicated to him.
No problem.
And but I can hop off there and cop over. I'd love to do that.
Hutson, we got to share Brad a little bit. Come on. If Sherry's letting you go on that podcast, I'm sure she'd let you go on Phil's for like 10, 15 minutes. Just quick, come in and out, say hi and leave. It's all good.
I love
You're
it.
gonna need therapy after being.
Yeah,
So
for
Phil,
sure.
how did you like? Do you like your Festivus gift?
This was a great gift. Thank you for bringing Brad on. Brad, thank you. I know we've only met a few times, but every time it's been great, and you are clearly as passionate as I am. Thank you for demystifying a lot. Thank you for being very, very honest, and most of all, thank you for showing the hobby you care,
Yes.
and representing PSA for caring as well. I'm still going to hoot and holler, but probably not as intense. And I like to hear both sides of the coin. And I
think
very
having
much
opinions
appreciate
is fine, Phil. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
well, I'm a loud person, and sometimes people think I'm mad or my opinion can't change. And both of those things are not true. But it's just the way I am, right? You know me. That's the difference. But either way, Brad, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you can give us some updates in a few months and let us know what PSA Canada is doing, because I live in Canada, and I think a lot of listeners want to hear a follow-up with you.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I appreciate you guys having me on, and like I said, I'm learning every day as well. And the more information that I learn, I can share it. And the more feedback that I can get, I can deliver it. So
Amazing.
I'll keep doing my job.
That's perfect. Beautiful.
hi, Brad. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brad.
You guys.
Well, we just said goodbye to Brad. So that was fun. Like I mentioned, that was in the works for a very, very long time. And Phil, I have some questions for you now that I got to know.
I also have some questions for you too. You sandbaggers.
Was that helpful to you? Did that, you know, I was proud of you for kind of being honest and getting out the questions that you, and I think a lot of people are really going to appreciate, because you asked a lot of the questions we all have of PSA, but was that, how do you describe, like, again, a few seconds after it happened, but did that change anything from your perspective? Did that answer any questions you have, or did it just reinforce the beliefs you already feel?
Well, when I saw Brad pop on the screen, I crap my pants a little bit. I thought it was awesome, because last time I saw Brad, we had such a great conversation. Everything's very copacetic. It's just the whole PSA and the grading thing, as the good listener knows. And I then, after my excitement, I got a little nervous because I wanted to take advantage of this beautiful opportunity to have Brad say, go ahead, Phil, ask me anything you want. So I didn't want to miss anything, and I hope I didn't. I don't feel I did. I felt Brad's
Can I wait, stop there really quick? And I just want to acknowledge, sorry to interrupt, but I want to acknowledge Brad, and knowing that you're going to get asked difficult questions and be willing to come on and do that. I think is incredibly smart. Actually, these are the questions we all want to know. But it takes a you know, you have to be up for it, and so I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I almost felt like it wasn't real. Like, kidding, Phil, and he like X's out. You know, like, his responses were so authentic, full of composure. I feel like I just met myself in 5 years, but a more refined version with more hairs, of course. But Brad's excitement with cards just wins me over more and more every time I talk to him. And he is one of us. And I like how he was very honest too. Like, we're a business. We need to make money. I get that 100%. So I think I only had one sticking point worth my line in the sand on the upcharges, and we just agree to disagree. And he demystified a lot for me. I was wrong about something as well. He fixed that up. And I hope we can talk to him again, because that was super informative. I hope I represented the hobby well. I hope I did. And I hope Brad can come back and keep us up to date with great things happening. It sounds like there is so much effort being given. And what else can I ask for, right?
Right. Yeah. PSA Canada, baby.
Yes, sir.
Well, and like the great thing about capitalism in a free market is we all get to vote with our wallets.
Yep.
Right. We can. Brad is such a great guy, but ultimately, if the services that his company offers don't align with what I want as a collector, then I just don't buy it.
That's simple.
I let other people choose maybe to do that, and for whatever we disagree with, you know, they must be doing something right if 1.5 million cards were graded in one. And that's my big regret is I don't know if he would tell me. I'm sure he wouldn't, because I don't know why a company would tell you this, but I can't even conceptualize how a company would grade 1.5 million cards in 30 days. Like, if you start to break that
Right.
down, like, how would you make that happen? That's such a huge logistics enterprise. It seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
How many a day is that?
Oh,
Do we have
50,000 a day.
boy math? Yeah, that's
50,000 a day.
insane. So you, how many? Yeah, I should ask that now.
7 days a week. That's 7 days a week too.
So I should have asked how many cards does the grader grade in a day?
Well, we'll have. I think Brad will come on.
Well,
So
Yeah,
we'll be
hopefully. I
good.
want him to come on my Friday night lives, man. Look at the collect. Did you see that when he
Did you
fanned out
notice
the
how
apple
like
parade?
his I almost peed my pants on his response because I'm gonna draw an analogy to you. It's like you asking a girl on a date and she says, I'm really focused on my career right now. And
Yeah, yeah, very very accurately put. Yeah, that was good.
he got shut down
Yeah,
hard.
hard. Is that a yes or a maybe, or you're saying there's a chance? Samsonite.
Saying there's a chance. Okay, we ready to move on, boys?
sure.
Let's go. Yeah, it was a long one, eh? That's almost
Yeah.
an hour and a half with him.
Let's talk some Bedsy.
Let's do it.
Now I want Brad here because his perspective on Bedard, having been a NHL prospect, I think would have been very valuable. So maybe we'll get him back on to talk about Bedsy a little bit too. There's been a lot of Bedard hobby talk, of course, since the start of the season, especially as he's struggled a little bit to produce. Bedard's been the next big thing in the hobby for more than 2 years now, seen by many as a generational talent. And the chink in the armor, though, has been that after the start, it's created a number of questions. And one of those has been, is Bedard even the best current NHL prospect? So two names that I've heard this fall, and I'm sure you guys have too, have been Macklin Celebrini and Matvei Michkov. And I wanted just to go through the thought exercise through myself and maybe and then for us to have the discussion of, is it possible that he's not even the best current NHL prospect? And so I thought, well, how do you do that? Do you try to do some level of production comparison? Because any sort of assessment on the skills and abilities is going to be very subjective. So I wanted to start with the objective as much as I possibly could. And the easiest place to, is going back through, their rookie season, how they produced. So in Bedard's rookie season, boys, he played 68 games, as you remember, scored 22 goals, added 39 assists for 61 points. So that's an 82 game average of 27 goals and 74 points. Because every player plays typically a different amount of games, I wanted to take their stats and average them out over an 82 game season. This season, as we know, hasn't been as good so far. And his 82 game pace is 15 goals, 62 points. So he's going from basically an 82 game average of 27 goals, 74 points to 15 goals, 62 points. Call it a regression, a sophomore slump, whatever you want to say. And I think, of course, this is where the questions are coming from. And as we, as a hobby in a hockey world, expect improvement from year one to year two, where it's just gone a little bit different. Looking at Celebrini, this summer's number one overall pick. It's a pretty nice start to his career. He's only played 19 games this year. Remember, started the season injured. But he's got 8 goals, 8 assists for 16 points. That's an 82 game average of 36 goals, 69 points. And he's received high praise from opponents and opposing coaches. You can go look at Paul Maurice. They recently played the Panthers and kind of gushed about, he said you have to throw the birth certificate out the window. He plays like a veteran, was basically his quote. And like Bedard, Celebrini plays on a team that's not that great. And then you have Michkov, who the other big rookie people are talking about. No surprise, because through 27 games played, the 20-year-old Flyers rookie has 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points. So that's an 82 game average or pace of 33 goals in 82 points. Again, pretty impressive. And he's the one of the three that when you look at production wise, the other greats, the hobby, the top tier of the hobby, the Ovechkins, the Crosbys, McDavids, Austin Matthews, where his production as a rookie aligns most with those guys. And you could also though make the argument that Michkov is in the best situation, right? The Flyers are a better team,
Yep.
and that helps you produce more too. And so, the more that I thought about the question whether Celebrini or Michkov is better than Bedard, I think the more I concluded that the question is just really about Bedard himself. And as a kid who, again, was tapped as that next generational NHL player, next hobby superstar, is there a reason to doubt that at this point? And it basically, and I have some stats I can share too. And I started to say this before as we shut down our pre-conversation to the episode. Bedard is pacing for 15 goals this year. I couldn't find a hobby superstar that has only scored 15 goals in a season. Like that low of production is, you look at Austin Matthews. Now, maybe he's the closest Bedard comparison. He went from 40 goals and 69 points in his rookie year. He played 82 games to 34 goals, 63 points in year two, but played only 62 games. He played 20 games less because of injury, but he went from 40 to 34 goals. 34 goals is the least amount of goals Austin Matthews has ever scored in a career, no matter how many games he's played.
Wow.
Again, Bedard's on pace for 15. And is it fair? The expectations, who knows, right? But somebody just dropped $43,000 on his peak goal PMG.
Yeah. What
Right?
did he get
People
last year?
spent
22 goals last year?
22 goals last year.
Ouch.
It's just, like I said, find me an NHL superstar, a hobby superstar that's had nobody's had less than 20 goals in a season. Even Crosby, when he's playing Crosby had a couple seasons where he played 15 games, but that was the whole, I think, concussion thing and all the injury issues he dealt with. But any substantial amount of games, the production hasn't been this bad. And so that's where I want to, I guess that's my sort of backdrop for the conversation, is that, and it depends how we want to look at it. Is it more that a guy like Celebrini or Michkov is better than Bedard, or maybe is the conversation that, is there a chance that Bedard, as good as he is, he's not going to be generational? And let me start here. So Phil, you have a friend that comes up to you and there's a $10,000 Bedard rookie card.
Okay.
That this person is considering buying. And he asks you, well, what do you think the risk is right now on just Bedard as a player? Like 1 to 10. 1 being the least amount of risk. He's a sure thing, fire Hall of Famer, generational player.
Mm-hmm.
10 being the most risky. What number would you give him?
5 at this point. 5, yeah. Safe bet. Sorry, man. I don't know. What I don't know is Hutson and Michkov and Celebrini, are they a little bit better than we all gave them credit for? And maybe that's overshadowing Bedard. But then you threw out some facts with numbers. Numbers don't lie. Bedard's on pace for only 15 goals. Maybe it's a bit of both. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but like Celebrini's, he's missed. He hasn't even played 20 games this year, and he's almost at 20 points. That's like it. He's got to be a little bit better than we were all expecting.
Tiny sample size for Celebrini and Michkov too. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to pan out either.
Have you watched Michkov play? I mean, even Celebrini, these boys want to score. And I know Bedard does too. He's got that. But Michkov has this like psychopathic behavior. He needs to score. It's man, I don't know. I'm enamored by that young man.
This is purely out there and in left field, but I've been watching the Bedard interviews, and it's in his head, and he's lost confidence, and that scares me because, did Sidney Crosby ever lose confidence? Maybe. I just don't. Maybe it wasn't the social media world. Did Ovechkin ever lose confidence? McDavid ever? So that it's in his head, and then if you really try to dig deep and you see the smarter people than me talk about how he's not the most, that he's wherever you want to put his skating, whether average, a little bit of, he's not an elite skater like a Nathan McKinnon or a Connor McDavid. And is that really hampering him? Or is it just that he's dealing with hockey adversity for the first time in his life? He's on a horrible team, which isn't helping. I don't know, but I think questions are fair at this point, especially the amount of attention and money that his cards command.
Well, does he know how to lose? If he doesn't know how to lose, this could go sour pretty good, right? And I don't know too much about Bedard, but if he's been Bedard his whole life, no, he doesn't know how to lose, right?
No, and then he goes on these streaks of not scoring, the first 2 games of not scoring. Okay, yep, I gotta get back into this now. And then you're at 3 games and 4 and 5. When you just feel like crap and stuff isn't going right and you just feel worse and worse and worse. That's how I think he felt. Did you see the look on his face when he scored the goal the other night? It was like somebody exercised the demon out of him.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Michkov's overtime winner last month, or the beginning of December 1st, or wasn't it, he broke a record there, fastest overtime goal, I think, or something.
This kid's still has so much hype on him compared to Celebrini and Michkov that everybody's got him on this tall totem pole still. And
Year 2, McDavid had 30 goals and 100 points.
Say that again?
Year 2, McDavid had 30 goals and 100 points.
Yeah, but Crosby had 20 points in his first season, right?
And he got a concussion his second there, I think.
Yeah, and Ovechkin, he lost the rookie of the Calder to Ovechkin. McDavid had 40, or Austin Matthews had 40 goals in his rookie season. And so the point isn't that Bedard won't end up being on that level, but what's scary if you're a numbers person is that to do that, he's going to have to be an outlier at this point, because his production, there's no precedence for being a top 5, or whatever, how you elite NHL player, elite kind of hobby star, and this level of, or lack thereof, of production. I couldn't find an example of, I don't know, maybe go back to the 80s or something like that. There's a guy or something like that.
I think maybe you got to take elite hobby star and elite NHL star and completely separate those two. People wanted him to be an elite NHL star because they wanted him to produce for this hobby. Well, it's 2 different things. He's not producing in the game. He's still bringing in mega dollars for his cards at some point.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Do you know where I'm going with that?
It does. The problem is how much money his cards cost. He has to be Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid. There's no that's the only justification for what people are spending and on his cards and what the boxes are costing for 2023-24. And so if he isn't going to be that, then the question becomes, well, what happens? What are the cascading effects?
Yeah.
What if he's just a 25 goal scorer, 85 point guy?
Well, then I guess everybody else bought into the hype and paid too much for his cards too soon, right?
Do you remember when Crosby wasn't good at faceoffs? He was terrible at faceoffs early in his career. He made it a sticking point to be good at faceoffs. He is one of the best faceoff guys in the NHL. So if Bedard's skating isn't up to par, I'll even give him the rest of this year. But if he comes back next year and he worked all summer on his skating, that's a great sign for the hobby and for hockey. If he didn't, maybe that's your litmus test.
Well, they already pulled him off of his center too, and they moved him to the wing.
They put him back. I think that was sort of a short lived, but I think the game before they did that, he went 0 for 8 on the dot in faceoffs.
Ouch.
So he has that a little bit of a problem too. But yeah, you look at Crosby, 102 points as a rookie, 120 second year, played 53 games, third year, still had 72 points.
Oh, it was third year. I thought it was second year. He got hurt.
103 points, 109 points. all these guys that are at that level in the hobby were major producers, and it's just not happening. And I think that his rookie year was acceptable enough where people gave him a pass to this year. But a lot of these guys improved too from year one to year two. And I don't know if you guys have ever thought this, but I've been thinking for the last couple of days about, and nobody would ever know, but like what was uh, the genesis point of when Connor Bedard became a thing? That just got into everybody's head that this is the next big deal.
World Juniors?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say
Right?
for me, it was World Juniors. Yeah.
But there's been other players too that have, like, even like Celebrini or Michkov or that. I wonder what it is about Bedard that got people so swept up, and how given the trend. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Like
Trying
what
trying.
the generation, what gave him the generational talent label?
Yeah, it's like, where does that come from? Right? Where all of a sudden everyone just believes to the degree that, versus a Celebrini or Michkov or somebody else, that this is it. This is the guy
Yeah.
that's going to carry kind of be the face of the NHL, carry the hobby forward.
Well,
Where
I think
Celebrini doesn't have. I mean, look at Celebrini's amazing. He's so young.
he's really good.
He was 17 in college last year and won the Hobie Baker Award.
Yeah, but Josh, don't you remember what Bedard did in the World Juniors? He dominated the whole thing. He got over 100 points, I'm almost sure, 2 years in a row with Regina. Like, didn't he get like 100 and like 50 points or something crazy? Like, that's insane, man. That is what gave him that. When we watched him in World Juniors, he didn't play well. He dominated. He solidified the hype. So I think that's where it all comes from. Alexander Daig, it was the World Juniors that solidified it too. Anyway, I don't know. I really like what's going on here. I feel like it's back to like Roenick, Fedorov, Mike Modano. I feel like it's early 90s time with all these young lads coming up. Hughes are in, the Stutzel, Kaprizov. I feel like it's a resurgence of that early 90s. I love it. It's good.
I think what a lot of people fail to realize at times is that top tier of hobby players is very small.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It takes. I wouldn't even put Jack Hughes in there yet. So it's been 8 years since Austin Matthews kind of entered into that highest of levels, right? That you would say is Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, Matthews. Right? To me, that there's a clear separation. I know, Phil, it hurts your heart that a Maple Leaf, but right. I mean, would you agree with that? That's the top of the hobby, and
I agree.
there's a gap between, maybe Jack Hughes would be the next one, or Quinn Hughes even, right? And there's like a Kaprizov, maybe there's guys but they're not.
Well, I would put Makar with Matthews a bit.
Yeah, Makar would be probably the closest, if not.
He should be higher because he won a cup, but who am I to argue with the blue team?
Yeah. So there you go, right? 2019. Right. And so my point is, we get every flagship product that comes out, we see 4 or 5 guys that we get really excited about. And that's where we fail to realize that although a lot of them will become very good all-star hockey players, to your point, Louis, but that to bust into that hobby elite and to justify huge money chased on rookies, $13,000 for a Lane Hutson, right? For that to make sense, he has to be on the Cale Makar level.
Yes.
And it's so difficult to get to, and it happens so infrequently that, and unfortunately, where everyone thought it would be Bedard, it might not be that case. And again, that's where now I think you start to have to ask the questions. What happens if Bedard doesn't pan out to be, what?
Well, it's simple. His cards will drop in value. That easy.
Mm-hmm. I think it could be a rough few months in the hobby, because the good news is when a highly touted rookie doesn't pan out, that the system replenishes itself, right? So we have, whatever you feel about Celebrini or Michkov or Cutter Gauthier or any of these other Logan Stankoven, right?
Mhm.
And that will soften the blow, I think, for the hobby, for collectors, for the industry. The good news about 2024 products is they're not as expensive either, right? So we're going to have Series 2. I don't think the Upper Deck will put Celebrini and Michkov in Series 2. I think one will go to Extended. But let's just assume like it's Celebrini for second in Series 2. I think he'll be a pretty big chase.
Yeah.
Problem is that that's not going to be till the end of March. So what if Bedard continues to struggle? What's going to carry the what's going to create the momentum for card shops to sell boxes for if it's more 2023 releases, or as much as we love O-Pee-Chee paper,
Mhm.
that's not going to have the effect it did last year with Bedard rookies, right? Even though it will be the first on card rookies for all the 2024 rookies.
Well, humans are predictable, and all it would take would be Bedard to have 6 goals in 2 games.
Mhm.
We're back. We're
Yeah.
rocking and rolling again. That's it.
That's the flip side too.
That's all
There's
it
nothing
takes.
there's nothing to say he won't turn it around, but that's like you can always argue the outlier, the trend just isn't good. And so I
Yeah.
think that's what brings up the the question. So you guys, and I think that sort of risk factor. So you guys see it as in your minds 50-50 at this point.
Yeah. It's fun. I have no regrets. I think it's great. The Bedard Mania. I know a lot of people don't like it. I don't like the high Series 2 box price either, but net total, I think the Bedard Mania is a good thing overall. It gives us something to talk about, and it's beefing up the hobby a bit. And we get to have topics like this about Celebrini and Michkov and Gauthier and Will Smith and that other guy, I can't say his name, T something.
Oh, so I'll just ask a question. From what you guys have seen, do you think Celebrini or Michkov are better than Bedard?
I can't answer that. I think all 3 are excellent, and I'm very excited to keep watching. I'm sorry, man. I can't say
no,
yes.
I mean that I think that's actually the right answer. Is that
Yeah.
too small of a sample size where it can, but I think here's a more important question. Is it possible at this point that you think Celebrini or Michkov could be better than Bedard?
Absolutely.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could be.
And I think that's very telling, that answer in of itself, in how Bedard has struggled.
Celebrini is so silky smooth, and Michkov is like, I don't know. They're very different, and they're both. I really like both of those players. I really do. Yeah.
Well, I'm not comparing them in this way.
I know. I'm just talking,
and they won't be. But no, I'm saying it's just like Crosby and Ovechkin are very different players.
Oh
right? They
yeah.
both came in and had major impact. Will Celebrini and or Michkov be as good as Sidney Crosby or Ovechkin?
Woo!
Probably not. Right? That's a tall
Probably
order.
not.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just I think Bedard fatigue is in full effect, and it's going to be a little rough given the release calendar until Series 2 comes out, where there just won't be much excitement unless he, snaps back to it and goes on a heater.
Maybe that's what he needs, less attention. He's like, you know what? Forget about me. I'll play better when. Well, he's had attention on his whole life. He should be able to.
Oh, he's fine. I just wish with all this Bedard palooza that he was playing awesome right now, because it would make it easier to swallow for me. If he's out there tearing it up and then his cards are, that's fun to see. But I don't like seeing this opposite. I don't like him being down in the dungeon. I think he's got enough talent. He needs to. Let's go, kid.
Oh, he's got talent. I mean, I don't think you can argue his talent, right?
No.
It's just, but it's also, I think it's time to acknowledge that it's affecting the hobby, it's affecting card shops, and it is creating doubt, right? And the best thing for the hobby would be for Bedard to be the next Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
sure.
That would be amazing, right?
Remember Josh Hosang? You guys know him, Josh Hosang?
Yeah, I remember the
crazy talent. Crazy talent cannot apply to the NHL, right?
Yeah,
it's wild. It's total package, healthy balance of everything makes the great hockey player.
I
Like
think
Sidney Crosby. Woo!
I think him playing good, will help the hobby, like you said. But in a way, I think him playing like crap could help the hobby too, because everybody's chasing his dang card and paying high bucks for him. Maybe let's not count our chickens before they're hatched.
Yeah, people jumping on planes, going to buy 101 future watches, and then selling them really quick.
I know you can't stop it, but the hype train, it just drives me nuts.
But I think another counterpoint to this too is, if you were inclined to want to participate in Bedard, the big complaint has been the cost of entry has been so high. So if you still believe in the kid, it's great. Right now, buy low, sell high, right? That's the whole point. Whether if you're a flipper, I guess, but even as a collector, right? You don't want to buy at the top of the market. And so now should be a great buying opportunity if you're very confident that he'll figure it out, and this is just a blip in the radar.
Have the cards even started coming down yet? I mean, other
they're
than
way down.
the young guns.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything's down.
I don't even
down.
look because it's not in my wheelhouse. So
yeah, it's right down there. Every day it's lower and lower.
Louis, I'm very confident that his gold PMG that sold for $43,000 would have been a $75,000 to $100,000 card on October 1st. Like, that's how much it's affected.
Wow.
His young guns is down to about $500 now, right? PSA 10, something like that.
Yeah.
It was $1,000 at the start of the season, right?
$1,000.
Yeah. Now, increasing pop count affects that too, but yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep following it. I don't know. Did we learn anything? Did we figure anything out?
We had a good chat. I don't think I learned anything on that, though.
Good combo.
All right, let's move on to some new product releases. New product releases is brought to you by our friends and partners at Mint Ink. Be sure to check out mintink.ca for all your holiday shopping. Great deals on wax, singles, memorabilia, breaks, and more. A big release day today. Yesterday, if you're listening, for you. 2024-25 Artifacts is officially out. Big buzzkill here in Minnesota. I got in my car and scooted down to the local card shop to get a box. And I'm halfway through the door and he's like, "We didn't get it." Like, well, what do you mean? I guess none of at least in Minnesota, none of the hobby shops got Artifacts today. They're getting it Thursday, which is the day the show comes out. It made me really confused because I know in Canada shops have it. Every breaker in the world has it.
Yeah, I got 2 boxes behind me.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, and I don't know. Again, I don't know how widespread it is between if it's just the Twin Cities area here, if it's all across Minnesota. But he said that they got a note from Upper Deck last night that they wouldn't be getting the product today. I would not be happy if I owned a card shop.
No.
And didn't have Artifacts on release day. So I did watch a ton of breaks. So did you guys watch any breaks today? See the product being open?
I went to my LCS to pick up the 2 boxes, and I looked at some packs he already opened. It's very, very artifactsy, very standard. It is what it is.
Yeah, I saw Money Moose break some, who was just on our last show, and the one card that it seems to be getting buzz is the Antiquity card.
Ooh, that is a nice card. I saw that. Yeah, it's like stained glass. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're showing the Bedsy if you're watching on YouTube. Now, we did not cover this one in our review on our last show because it was not included in the sell sheet or Upper Deck gallery. It's kind of hard to do that if you don't know what the card looks like. So it's a pleasant surprise. I love the design of this too, and it's acetate, so it gives you that stained glass feel. Do you like this too, Louis?
Oh, it is?
It's
it
not
felt
for
more
me.
like a clear cut.
Not
really?
for me.
Well, acetate is clear cut. It's PETG.
My Brady Kachuk Young Gun acetates are no clear cuts. They're like very different.
Well, okay, we got to talk about now. Here's where terminology gets important, and I might be messing this up.
No, help
too.
me out. I don't know the difference. Yeah.
So a clear cut is a card name. The clear plastic or semi-transparent plastic technology the cards are printed on is technically called PETG, but commonly referred to as an acetate card, not a Young Guns acetate.
Okay, can I read? So I have So if I have a Young Guns acetate out of flag, no, geez, Phil. If I have a Young Guns clear cut out of flagship, that is acetate technology, but we call it a clear cut Young Gun.
That's a very thin acetate, but Upper Deck would always call it a PETG. I don't think I made it. Yeah, that's how that's probably I'm sure it stands like for 4 words that are very sciencey.
PETGCOMCTCDB. Yes.
Elemental P. So can I repeat? So a clear cut Young Gun is just a thin acetate technology, but we call it a clear cut Young Gun, like that you get out of flagship.
Yes.
But
Yeah, clear cut.
Acetate Young Gun I get out of SPA. Oh, sorry, extended. That is also acetate technology, but it's a very differently made card.
Yeah, let me try it this way. So Upper Deck would always probably use the technical term PETG, but a lot of people refer to any card that's printed on see-through plastic or semi-transparent plastic as acetate.
Okay.
That's an acetate card,
I did not know that.
where it gets confusing with a Young Guns acetate versus which is a very specific card name.
Yeah. Well, good thing if Billy was here, I would have been more confused. I'm glad he wasn't.
No, I don't know.
Why do you not know this, Phil? Why do you not think this, Phil?
We'll get to he's coming on, I think, next week, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I don't know how thick these are, but the point being is that it's printed on that PET technology so that it gives you the stained glass effect, right? Because light goes through it. And I think that's a cool element of the card.
It's the same thickness.
It's going to feel like a clear cut.
It's going to feel like a clear cut Young Gun you get out of flagship. That's exactly how it feels. I had it in my hand today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not for you, though, Louis?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's going to feel just like a clear cut.
But do you like that, Louis? Do you like that in your hands of your favorite hockey player?
The clear cut?
Would you like this card of Mike Modano, Antiquity?
No.
Okay, so he doesn't like it, Josh.
Yeah, there we go.
I like it.
This is kind of my jam, kind of stuff I sort of like. So I wanted to learn more about it, again, because we didn't cover it. There's a vet set and a rookie set. So vets have 20 players on the checklist. Bedard would be considered a vet, of course, at this point. To hit any one of the 20 is 1 in 100 packs. So it's a decently tough chase. Then there's a rookie that just kind of says Antiquity rookies underneath it that are a little bit tougher, 1 in 200 packs, but there's 10 players on the checklist, and there's kind of 6 of those rookies are notable. Olin Zellweger, Logan Stankoven, Macklin Celebrini, Jesper Wallstedt, Frank Nazar, who I think is close to making his debut. Getting some
he's tearing it up.
Presser on that, and then Cutter Gauthier. So that's kind of all I got because I didn't get the product today. But it doesn't sound like real surprising to you, Phil.
No,
what you'd expect.
Not really. If you want to see what this looks like, come on Friday nights with Phil. I'm going to open a box, and I'm also giving away an entire box of artifacts.
Can I win a box?
No, you can't. No friends of mine can win. If anyone wins and they're friends of mine, they're not winning.
Well, that means most of Earth because you have no
All
friends.
right.
Okay. We did get some breaking news today. Got an email from Upper Deck that my favorite set releases today. ePack exclusive 2022-23 Fleer Ultra will be released today exclusively on ePack, I believe at noon Pacific time, December 12th, in case you're listening to this at a later date. For some reason, these sets are always kept a mystery by Upper Deck, and info is withheld until the very last second. I don't understand that. Like, there's no checklist as of Wednesday, no gallery, anything at all that we have really to go off of. The Upper Deck did a little bit of like a blog post on their website or something like that. And it's just so weird that like a physical set that sell sheet will come out months in advance. And then you get like a 12-hour notice or less than that from ePack with no information on a set that I love.
These cards are such bangers. Why can't they just come out physically?
So Billy is going to come on next week, probably next Thursday's show. I mean, there would be no reason to have him now because we have no pictures of what any of the cards look like.
Mm-hmm.
But once the set is out to talk about it, and I'm excited about that. here's what info we do. Like Upper Deck doesn't even give you the price. You have no idea what the price is until noon Pacific on Thursday.
We don't have any flyer sheets of what the base cards look like or anything. Nothing.
Nothing.
So peculiar. I don't
know why they do this. It's odd. Yeah.
I feel like we've asked 5 times and it's always a very different
What?
answer. Yeah.
Well, I'll even say I gave them the feedback that's like, people like us would talk about it and help you.
Yeah.
Especially sets we love might help other people get excited about
That's
it.
what other companies, I feel, other podcasts I watch of different sports, I've seen their podcasts and influencers are the ones to give the information.
Yeah. They're the ones that pump it.
Why is hockey the only one that's different? I don't know. But I'm glad Billy told us that a lot of him and his colleagues listen. So maybe if we just keep asking every episode, we'll get an answer eventually. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe they're talking about it. It's hard for change, I think, sometimes.
I do have some bullet points from Upper Deck. There's 8 cards per pack, 15 packs per box, 10 boxes per case. It's a 250 card base set. There's breakdown. There's parallels.
We'll find out on Facebook in 3 weeks.
You get 2 numbered parallels, 1 auto or acetate card per box on average. So there's some. It looks like there's some tributes like for Fleer Ultra, like Rookie Reflections, Inside Outside, Future Faces. Medallions are coming back. So there's Sapphire.
Sweet.
I don't know what all the parallels, but they mentioned 3. Sapphire Blue to 25, Emerald Green to 10, and Violet is where I think 2021 was black. That was the 101 parallel. It's Violet this year. This is acetate inserts like Ultra Stars and Wave of the Future, each with gold parallels. Top 30 insert featuring 30 biggest stars in the league and a gold parallel. So, and then there's some ePack achievements, it says, but that's all we got at this point. So it'll be a giant mystery that we'll all find out together tomorrow, today, depending on where you are in the podcast space-time continuum.
Right.
Okay.
But I am very, very excited. I don't want to kind of let my confusion over how these ePack releases are marketed get past that. That's the number one set I collect. I'm a huge medallions collector for 2021. I'm really curious to see what the designs will look like. I'm kind of like, if you look at the pack here, I kind of wonder if that's the background, but that's sort of wavy, but that's just me being nerdy and projecting.
When is your EX 2000 million coming out?
I hope in the next few months.
Okay.
I don't know.
Excited.
They've been very cagey about that too.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good listener when we have people on that talk about ePack and stuff, and I forget things quickly. But if you do this and pull one of those medallions, is that one of those that's at ComC? You can get it? Is that how that works?
All the hits will be physical. They're already at ComC, but you transfer them to the ComC system.
Got it.
Upper Deck doesn't warehouse any cards. So
right. No, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right. That's new product releases. Louis.
Hey.
Phil's gone through his top 5 cards, favorite PC cards. I've gone through mine. That leaves you, Louis.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Will Phil judge your cards as harshly as he judged mine? We'll find out.
Yeah.
I can probably pick what he's gonna pick.
Okay. Yeah, because why not? So my first one is where it all. This is where it all started for me after I picked one of these up out of a pack.
All right, the crowd had to disapprove.
Yeah, they did. Now I used to make, the daily or every other day bike ride up to the old drugstore to buy packs of cards, and I ended up pulling one of these in a pack, and this is actually the first and only card I've ever submitted to grading, and it was graded, I think, in 92. I think a buddy of mine's dad was a card dealer, and he was sending cards in, so he said we should send that in. It did get a 9.
Okay.
But, I'll take it. But
from PSA?
Yeah.
Boy, that'd be an early PSA slab. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's old, I think.
Yeah, nice.
I don't even know what's next. Oh, number 2.
Oh,
Good old 08-09 Fleer Essential Credential Green Madonna out of 91.
A
Thanks,
beautiful
Josh.
photo you took of the card.
Every time in that little light box, that's how that looks. I think they look sweet in
you should
there.
show Josh how to use the light box.
I
Remember
will.
his light box picture? Well,
I will.
good job, Louis. Beautiful card, brother.
Well, Phil, it's been great having you on.
Yeah. I picked this one up in April? No, the fall expo.
Mm.
I can't
Cool
remember
card.
which expo. A 0708 SP Authentic Rookie Review Patch Auto out of 100 Madonna.
Nice.
I really like this 1718 Upper Deck Young Guns Acetate Nico Heischer.
Is this your number 2 then?
You know what? I could have had 30 cards in here and said they were all my number 1, to be 100% honest with you.
What about that Medano statue that we went and got together from Quincy?
Like this?
Yeah. That's your best card, Louis. That's your favorite card.
That's probably my favorite card. A 1920 stature patch auto out of 9 Madonna.
What a card.
I love that card.
To the good
Are you
listener.
confident that that's a North Stars patch, or do you think that's a Dallas patch?
That's Dallas. The
Dallas
green's
patch.
darker. Yeah, green's darker.
No, that's a Dallas patch.
I agree. Yeah.
He's in a Dallas uniform. I thought he was North Stars. I'm sorry.
I think the fun part about this one though is I spent all my extra fun money at the expo, and then I saw this one last year and reached out to Phil and said, "Hey, do you know this guy? I wanted this card, but I didn't have any more money." And so Phil reaches out to Quincy Cards. He's like
11 months later.
Yeah, yeah, I still got it. So as soon as we had a chance here in the last expo, I beeline it. Phil, take me there. I gotta go get this.
Steve's
easy
about this
to find
card
for like 4 months.
Probably.
Yeah, you were excited. And you were very worried it was going to be not there.
Oh, yeah, I think this would be, between this one and, of course, I crapped the bet again and didn't buy the blue out of 10 or purple, whatever it is. The only one I don't have out of 1920. I got the regular, the red, the green, and this. I need that blue one. And somebody snagged it from me before I could grab it. So anybody out there got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10? I'm looking for it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That was fun. No, I
We're allowed 5. You said 5. I would have liked
5.
6. No, I know, but Josh is giving you a chance to show more.
Oh, well, I didn't load more, so.
Okay.
Said top 5.
Well, we can always do our next 5.
I have a top 5 to 10 if you want.
Sure. 6 to 10.
Anyway.
Fanatics Collect is a Gong Show partner and sponsor. We're grateful for their support of the show. Remember, the December premiere auction is live, runs through December 19th. There's some monster hockey grails you can check out at fanatics.com. Also, don't sleep on the Buy Now Marketplace, where cards are being added daily. Thousands of great cards to choose from there. And then finally, the Fanatics Collect Weekly Auctions live too runs through this Sunday. It's another really strong auction this week. A couple back-to-back that I've really loved. There's some great cards available. Each of us has gone through the auction and picked out our favorite card in both vintage and modern categories. We're going to highlight today. I picked Phil's favorite card, so he couldn't do it, which makes me very, very happy. I did, and I promised to rub it in as best as I can.
You're such a jerk.
Man. But that's a modern card. We're going to start with vintage. Yeah. And I mentioned to Brad the whole rage in all vintage are low-grade, high eye appeal cards, and lucky us, we have one in this week's Fanatics Collect Weekly Auction. It's a 1951 Parker's Terry Sawchuk rookie. Yes, 3. It looks super nice.
It's perfect, except for round corners here and there. But
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not arguing it's not a 3, but that's this whole kind of rage. Card. It's like, why spend $10,000 on an 8 when you can get a 3 that looks really good for quite a discount. So it's the whole low grade, high eye appeal thing that's going on. And Fanatics Collect agrees too. They gave this card the exceptional eye appeal rating, put in the top 15% of all PSA 3 copies, and the PSA 3 pop count is 55. So that would put this in the top 15%, top 8 or so in their estimation of PSA 3 copies. Sawchuk, of course, is one of the 3 big rookies in the 1951 Parker set, along with Gordie Howe and Maurice Rocket Richard. And again, so nice. The centering is beautiful.
Mhm.
Probably maybe not perfect, but really good for PSA 3. Color is amazing on this card. The clarity of Sawchuk is spot on. The registration, again, not perfect, but pretty good. The print quality, and like Jeremy Lee always points it out on these 51 Parkies, that you want the printed words on the bottom in both the black ink and the red ink to be clear and not faded or something like that. And it's really good on this card too. The issues are really in the corners. But what I found for my collecting taste is if a vintage car has like even wear on the corners, it doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
Where if it had like 3 perfect corners and one really messed up one, then that would distract me from the eye appeal of the card. And so, yeah, I would love to have this card. In the last sale, the 1951 Parker's Terry Sawchuk PSA 3 was 1,246 US dollars back in October. All-time high 2280 from August 2022. And this is where you get then the lower the grade, the wider the spectrum of condition. So, and you can't just buy based on a comp of what the last one sold. You really have to look at the card and say, is this a low eye appeal 3 or a high eye appeal 3? And sort of adjust your bid or expectation accordingly. You got the current bid, Louis?
I do 190 US dollars.
Cool.
I'll take it. I'll take it for that
Yeah.
right now.
What do you think it'll go for? You think this will hit 2K?
I think it'll go over 2K. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice. To the person listening, you gotta take a look at this card. It's the best 3 I've ever seen of Sawchuk.
It's awesome. Looks really good.
BabaLewi, you're next.
I am. I picked a 1953 Parkhurst Jim Peters. Now, I have never heard of Jim Peters, but the reason I picked this card is I love the picture of the card. But first, we'll start off with giving you a little intro into Jim Peters. He was known as Shaky.
Ooh.
Don't know why, but in the late
girlfriend's name.
Oh. In the late 1940s and 50s, Peter was an exciting scorer with 4 of the original 6 teams. He played for Montreal, Boston, Chicago, and Detroit. He was born in Verdun, Quebec, October 2nd, 1922. He grew up playing youth hockey with the Verdun Canadiens, and by the time he was 18, he was starring with the Oshawa Generals in the OHL.
Okay, Louis, this is no shade.
What?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not pronounced Verdun.
Verdun?
How do you pronounce that, Phil?
I'm listening. I'm not following along. Keep going, Louis. I'll Verdun.
Verdun.
It's Verdun.
Oh.
It's Verdun.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm
I
wrong.
hope you fall off that limb.
I did.
What do you call it? Verdun?
Oh, I don't know. What did I call it? Verdun or Verdun? Oh, I can't even remember.
It's Verdun, Quebec. Yes.
I said Verdun. I'm pretty sure.
That's what I've called it my whole life. I've never heard it said different.
All right. So the New York Americans, a long defunct team, brought him to the pro leagues in 1941, but the team would fold before Peters ever had a chance to play in Manhattan's bright lights. He was drafted into the Canadian Army in 1942, and he served as a member of the Royal Canadian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, being stationed in England, France, Belgium, Holland, and Germany, before finally earning his discharge in 1945. When he returned home from the war, he found out that Canadians had drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he hadn't even gotten far from the railroad station upon his arrival home when the Canadians had driven him to the Forum to play in his first NHL game. He'd not even met his wife or his twins, who were born while he was away. Straight to the hockey rink, play a hockey game.
How do you not meet your wife but have twins?
Probably from the plane.
Oh,
When he arrived home, the
Straight to
Canadiens
the
picked
ring.
him up and drove him right to the
gotcha.
forum to play.
That's kind of incredible. That again, there was no Instagram.
No GPS either back then, so they had to use
True.
maps and stuff.
So Peter stuck with the Canadiens for the rest of the 45-46 season, capping it off with the Stanley Cup. In 9 NHL seasons, Peters played in 574 regular season games, scoring 125 goals with 150 assists. He also played in 60 playoff games, netting 5 goals with 9 helpers. So now to the card. As I was scrolling through the auction of these cards, I don't know why this hockey stop. You look at the card, he's doing a hockey stop basically right at the camera. You're gonna spray the camera guy with ice if it was a camera. It's an artist drawing, but you get my gist there. Like I said before, it's a 53 Parkish PSA 7. 90 of these cards have been graded by PSA, and there's 18 of them graded in a 7. There happens to be one graded as a PSA 10, so this card gets a gem rate of 1.1%. The card itself has a couple things on the 2 top right and bottom left corner. Some fisheyeing. If you zoom in on it, you can see it in the bottom right part of the card. Some scratches. And then, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I had to go look at some other 53 Parkies, but that darkening around the edge is normal, normal for an old card, right? If it was...
Yeah, I've always heard it referred to as toning.
Okay.
And some cards you'll find have a lot more of that, like, manila envelope, kind of call that yellowing or toning to it.
Okay.
Where others are bright white. And to some
Almost
degree, it
looks
comes down to
fake.
a personal preference. Like, you almost want, for a card, like in this case, that is what, 72 years old.
Mhm.
It's weird if it's like ultra bright white, that it almost feels more authentic if it has that toning
Yeah.
to it.
I like
My opinion.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. I like if it was as bright as that Blackhawks jersey, I don't think it would look right to me. But I did flip over to the back. Didn't show a picture of it, but for thus back snobs like me, there's nothing wrong with the back at all. So last sale of this card was October 22nd of this year for $76. And currently it's up for bid for $24.
I've always liked the retro Blackhawks jerseys from back with the circle.
Those are cool, yeah.
Yeah, but a big fan of those. Phil,
Yeah.
you picked out a vintage card to highlight. Which one is it?
I did. It's ironically appropriate for today's episode, and I had no idea. It's a 1986 O-Pee-Chee Patrick Roy slabbed card, PSA 9. And I want to bring this up for a couple of reasons. Excuse me. Spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. So
Again?
I'm very happy I saw. Yeah, I like to eat the same things. I'm very happy I saw this card on this week's auction. There is a great opportunity to be had here for 2 different types of collectors. So, flippers and card bros, listen up. You could buy this card, flip it or crack it, and the chances of getting a 10 probably not the best. It's not like a modern day young gun. I believe the pop count is a lot lower than anything else modern day wise, but I did a good thing and I went to the Fanatics Collect Live website, and you can zoom in on these cards exponentially. They do an excellent job of scanning these with high resolution. I looked at this card pretty good. 50-50, it could hit a 10. And this was also graded a long time ago, because if you check the serial number, it's a digit shorter as well.
No hologram on it or anything like
No hologram. So it's an oldie. So that would be your first opportunity. Second opportunity, if you're more like me and you just want a really good O-Pee-Chee Patrick Roy rookie card, this is your card. This PSA 9. So when you get to the PSA 8s, you could totally find an 8 that would be close to this. It's a better guide, right? The PSA 9, it's a pretty good guide. The vintage cards are graded harder. Or maybe more with more eyes on them, I would say. And this is a real banger card. I can't find any reason why it wouldn't be a 10. I'm sure other people could, but I think mine are pretty good. I didn't see anything. I think we're in a bit of a bubble of harder grading right now. So maybe just buy and hold on to it a bit. And hopefully some other vintage 10s comes out and I would send it in. I actually have a pretty small KSA 10 collection. I think I have 2 Patrick O-Pee-Chees KSA 10s, to be honest. But this one actually looks a little better. This one would look better than my 2 KSA 10s. And current bid is $260, dirt cheap. So you can usually find these for around 800 to 1500 Canadian. Anything under 1,000 for a 9 PSA, I think is a good steal. Maybe not a steal, but a very reasonable price. And I strongly suggest the good listener go look at this card if you want to get in the market for a beautiful Patrick O-Pee-Chee rookie card.
Yeah, it's weird. It didn't get comeback altered.
Yeah, I know. It's better than mine, I guess. I got like I have 5 or 6 Patrick Waugh rookies that I feel like should all be 10. So I just picked my best one and sent it, and it felt
I have a reprint that I thought wasn't a reprint, and I paid for it, and then learned that I just didn't take the time to read that it was a reprint.
Oh, it wasn't the anniversary one, was it? With the silver on the bottom?
No.
Okay, good.
It's a reprint.
I'd kick you off.
Because I'm dumb.
All right.
Current bid, BabaLewi?
Oh, it's 260.
Oh.
I thought I said that, no?
Oh, maybe did.
That's okay.
I stopped paying attention when you talk. We know that. We've talked about this.
That's okay. I get used to it.
BabaLewi, you're on mute too again, just so you. You're really paying homage to Troy beautifully today.
Why do we do vintage first? We should do modern first.
Because vintage came before modern?
Oh.
For a guy that likes everything in its logical order. That's a really weird question to have.
All right. Next up, modern. Who's going first?
Me.
Oh,
I picked this very beautiful 2011 Panini Certified Mirror Gold Sidney Crosby out of 25 PSA 10. So Phil can't talk about it. I also like this card. I had never seen it before, but so I wanted to kind of learn more about it. And I lived in this world. Like, I know you had Seth, the Panini Prism guy.
Oh my Lord, did I ever?
Yeah, on your show.
Yes,
And
I did.
I guess because so much focus gets put on Prism for Panini, that I kind of thought, well, all Panini products were only printed 2 years, and then I forgot that was really very off. It's because Prism is 2012 and 2013. I'm like 2011. So to go re-educate myself and learned that certified hockey sets were produced for 3 seasons in 2010, 2011, 2012. And the mirror parallel is pretty abundant. There's 1 million parallel sets and insert sets in certified. So like fit into the upper deck product lines pretty well. There's mirror ice, mirror red, mirror gold, like this one, which is out of 25. There's mirror emerald out of 5, and then mirror black 101. This card is my kind of jam as a collector. I've had a lot of fun exploring while everyone's gone crazy about Bedard. This is sort of the era that I've been stretching my hobby muscle into this year. And yeah, big fan of the card design. I love Crosby cards where he's in the retro blue penguin uniform. Yeah, it's just something different.
It looks like it's one of them Stadium Series jerseys there.
I think it was for the Winter Classic.
Or the Winter Classic.
But this was the old, at a time, I can't remember the years, like 70s or 60s, so the Penguins uniform. Last sale of any copy of this card was a raw one that sold for $26 in September 2021.
Wow.
It's a really nice card when you hold it in hand. When I win it in auction, I'll let you hold it, Josh.
You're going to go after it?
No.
All-time high is another raw copy. It's sold for 106 in December 2017. And current bid's 88. You wouldn't really go after this card?
I'll tell you why. Can I talk about it?
Yeah.
Because I got a threatening text message. You said you better not say a word about my Crosby card. I don't love from you. I thought I would like this card a lot more if the entire card had the mirror background for the entire canvas of the card and got rid of the Sidney Crosby Penguins and certified. I think it would be so sharp if it was just that, kind of like the holotypes, Yeah. That's it. That's all. I love this card. I would go for it, but I'm not buying cards till after Christmas, like I said. So
Tomorrow.
Oh, but you got a personal pickup, so that makes a lot
doesn't
of
count.
sense.
That's an outlier.
Yeah,
That's
and you
one
bought
outlier.
and you got 2 boxes of artifacts that you're gonna open. So yeah, you're right.
That
You're right.
doesn't
Phil.
count
You're right.
either.
No,
That's
no,
for the
no,
channel.
no. You're not
That's
buying
for
any
the
cards.
channel. You want me to? I will burn the boxes right now.
Okay, that would be good content. Burn 'em.
All right.
Do it. All right, Louis, you got a modern card?
Yeah, I do. Because of Seth on Friday Nights with Phil, I saw this bad boy in the auction.
Louis is impressionable, I'm learning.
Hey, I probably would have kind of scanned over it if I didn't at least learn something about it on Friday night. I didn't know anything about these. So what I have up here is a 2013 Panini Prism immortalized finite die cut Sidney Crosby 1 of 1 SGC 9. So, like I said, I just learned a lot about these Panini Prisms after Phil's Friday night show with Seth. He did, if I remember right, have the orange, and I think he showed us an orange one of this. Anyway, there are 20 cards in this immortalized set, and it features a base prism, orange out of 50s, golds out of 10, and then this finite 1 of 1. So like I said, it's an SGC 9 copy, and it looks like the last sale of this card, it was still raw, sold on February 16th last year for $1,167, and the current bid is $360 US.
So that is the card, though, no?
It is the card. It's a 1 of 1, and it wasn't graded last time it sold.
Oh boy, we're watching the entrepreneur in action, right? So the guy bought it for $1,167 and change, and current bid's $360. Oh baby, we should keep tabs on this.
Do you guys like die cut cards?
No. So if he only gets like 1,300, 1,350, he broke even, right? Because eBay's got to take their cut, right?
Fanatics, yeah, Fanatics takes 20%, so he has to do.
Oh, Fanatics, sorry.
Like 1,500 or 1,400, something like that, right?
Okay. Well, I hope one of us remembers to go back on this, because this is good. I like it.
Mm.
Well, is this a card Seth is going goo goo gaga over? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. He's pretty goo goo gaga in general, so
okay.
I don't know.
Last card on modern is Phil.
Yeah, I picked a weird one, and I'll explain it. So I picked nothing against Colton. Perico. Is that how you say it?
Perico.
I don't know much about him. I apologize, Colton. I even asked Hasselhoff, and he didn't have much to say, which means a lot. So the reason I picked this is not for Colton. I'm sure he's a great guy. But the reason I picked this is because of a clear cut. You're looking at a clear cut Future Watch auto. So it's just, I did look up his Future Watch card. They're the exact same.
Yeah.
And I think these cards are great. The only kind of bummer thing, and I'm bringing it up for the hobby to know, is some hockey players, when Clear Cut comes out with their Future Watch auto, they redo it again. And I'll give an example, probably the biggest example. In 2019-20, we had a beautiful Future Watch auto in Clear Cut of Connor McDavid. I won't give prices, but those cards sold for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward like 5 figures, okay? Fast forward to last year, and what does Clear Cut have? They have another Future Watch auto, and it's identical except for a little serial on the back, RA-CM. Everything else is identical except the print year. So if I was a huge Connor McDavid guy, I would not want that reprinted in Clear Cut, let alone. No, like it's already, you're already getting the purists upset, and that's fine. Let them get upset. So change is good. You're already getting them upset by reprinting a rookie card. You're not. The print date's fine. It's on the back. I like the way they do that. But then you do it again. You do it again years later. That's kind of poopy. So I guess I picked this card to kind of vent that. But I still think they're great cards. So we have some negative and we have some positive. Make your own decision. I'm really liking Clear Cut. There's something in that set for everybody. The current bid for Colton Perico is $15, and it's a nice card. But what do you guys think? Do you guys? I think, Josh, you don't like this kind of stuff, but I might be wrong. like the reprints, but they reprinted it twice now.
I completely agree. I think I would have lost my mind had I bought one of those early McDavids, but that's a cool card. I have nothing against it.
Louis, what do you think? Do you like the reprints of the big iconic cards?
Nah, 50-50.
Right.
That was another BabaLewi Hobby hot take.
Perfect timing.
You're gonna forget, didn't you, Louis?
I was
Think I
like, hey,
forget.
I feel like this will work out perfect. It's gotta happen.
All right. You can bid on these 6 cards or all the rest of the hockey cards in this week's auction at fanaticscollect.com. Time for personal pickups.
Yeah. It's personal pickups, where Phil takes a giant dookie on Josh's new cards. Then Josh cries himself to sleep later that night.
Is that your daughter? Did you like record her getting mad at you?
No. Okay. All right, Phil, who doesn't buy hockey cards, show your pickup.
I don't know if this is a pickup or a glamour shot, but
Just show the picture. Yeah, I got my eye on you, Hobby. That's a first shot
I gotta
too.
grab something.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's my Connor McDavid, my first young gun. I'm so proud. I'm so happy. I haven't found a raw in probably like a year and a half. It hasn't been 2 years, but over a year. I've been trying to find like a good raw I can live with. And now that the prices are 1,000 subpar, which is crazy to me, I snagged it. And I grabbed it off these. I think there were more Pokemon kids and they got it in a trade. I don't know. I lost the coin flip. I could have got it for $100 cheaper, but I got it for $1,000. Yeah.
Oh, went with the coin flip, huh?
Yeah. Was it 1050?
Nice. You got it
Or
in,
950? I don't know. It was $1,000. It was $1,000.
got in the ultimate holder there. Looks nice.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, very nice.
Now, BabaLewi, you abandoned your post to go get a card. Does that
Yeah.
mean you have a pickup?
I have a pickup, but I wasn't going to share it because it was hey, ding dong, maybe you should look at the cards you have before you buy another one kind of thing. But so I ended up with a second Madonna
Oh, it's beautiful card, Lou. You can't go wrong with that.
I collect multiple
gold medallion.
medallions. Yeah.
My
That's
friend
just
Brad has over 100 Wayne Gretzky rookie cards.
Oh, your friend.
Oh,
Brad.
the one who doesn't want to come on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Hartlin. He's
I'm
like,
busy.
yeah, thanks for the invite, Phil, but I got like way cooler friends.
I'm dedicated to another guy that night, so guess what? Mhm.
Maybe I can ask Sherry. I'll be like, get Brad's cards and bring him on the show. Yeah. That'll be good.
All right, Joshy, you ready, bud?
I have 2 pickups. On Fanatics Collect last week, I bought the 2014 EX Crosby Jambalaya Raw. I bought Datsuk the week before. Phil loves this card, but I wanted to pair my Datsuk with the Crosby, and I'm a Jambalaya guy, so I bought the card. And then I picked up a 2021 Fleer Ultra because I'm a Ultra stan. Quinn Hughes, gold medallions out of 200.
They mailed the card that fast to your house, Josh?
You have a different criteria than I do.
I just
And-
asked if I just made a statement. I didn't even ask you, really. I mean,
No, I know where you're going. And don't make me bring Brad back on and confront you. He's in there. He's waiting. I can text him. We'll come right back.
I've never seen a nicer smile terrify me at so quickly. that initial.
The best part of the whole thing is we had a conversation earlier today on the phone, and you totally acknowledged that I like to make you squirm.
Mhm.
And then knowing that was coming.
Son of a Vondruk. All right.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Whoa, 3 hours and 13 minutes for Thursday's
That's
show.
crazy. Yeah, Brad's like bona fide, He's like A1.
There's a Reddit comment where the last thing that I think of a lot. Somebody was asking, like, I don't know if somebody sent this to me or what, like recommendations for hockey content, and somebody says you could try the Hockey Cards Gongshow. They ramble a lot, but it's pretty good.
I don't think Reddit likes us. You can Google Hockey Card Podcast, Gong Show thing, and on Reddit, it's not negative, but it's very elitist. I love you, Reddit. I love you, Reddit guys.
Oh, Reddit's
Oh, it's great. I post all the time. No one knows any idea it's me. It's great.
Okay. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, you want to chat with Phil, tell him about, I don't know, sell him your Shane Pinto cards. You could do that. We'd ask you to please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $2.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, in our Instagram, TikTok profiles, on our website. Just hit the Become a Patron link or search for Hockey Cards Gongshow on Patreon's website, patreon.com. We are on social media. Follow The Gong Show on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And boys, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dogbox Ventures, LLC. Have an awesome end of your week, a great weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday. Louie,
Yes.
take us out.
Bye.